real issue is to preserve the medical surgical mask for the medical surgical first responder community. That's the intent there, not that there's any evidence that's one better than the other.
Now that's, again, you know, getting back to science, because there's a lot of critique when, you know, first people were told don't wear a face mask, then they're told wear a face mask. We have a big discussion, you know, is it surgical mask, face shields, what is it? I mean, the bottom line is you should protect the other person that you're coming near.
That's right.
In case you are an asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic carrier.
That's the purpose.
Thank you very much. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Congresswoman Roybal-Allard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Dr. Redfield, thank you for being with us today. I'd like to follow up on the issue of masks. In early April, the CDC reversed its initial guidance from masks being optional to advising the public to wear cloth masks in public spaces at all times. In spite of this advisory, there has continued to be a barrier to a universal acceptance of these recommendations. Mask wearing, unfortunately, has become very politicized, and those who oppose their use argue that mandating masks is interfering with individuals. A recent study by a group of Cornell University scientists showed that when quarantines are lifted, if 80% of the population with social distancing, the virus could be eliminated. To date, only 15 states require the wearing of masks in communal places. He continues to flaunt his opposition to this public health recommendation. Science, why did you initially recommend the mask as optional? And what fears do you regarding the spread of the virus if states and individuals can't be incentivized to wear masks in public, including during these massive protests that we have recently witnessed throughout our country?
Thank you very much. I think fundamental is the recognition of the importance of asymptomatic infection or pre-symptomatic infection. When this outbreak happened, CDC had the original 12 cases in the first January, February. We did 800 contacts through our contact follow-up. 2 of those individuals were confirmed to be positive, both symptomatic and both spouses. So we had the view from our Chinese colleagues and their experience and our early experience that this was a symptomatic disease like most respiratory viral diseases were. What we rapidly started to learn is there's significant asymptomatic infection and what we call pre-symptomatic infection, and we've learned that the amount of virus that's shed in individuals that are symptomatic is just as high as that in symptomatic. And when that knowledge, we realized that we had an important public health tool that we needed to take advantage of, and that's if people were asymptomatic or pre-symptomatically infected, if they were wearing a face covering, that they would have less ability to transmit to others. And that's why we released this important public health tool. And I will say that we continue to see this as a critical public health tool, as I said in my opening statement, that we ask the American public to be vigilant about utilizing, particularly as a major mechanism that we have to protect the vulnerable.
And can you also elaborate on what your concerns are then when you see these mass protests, when you see as things are opening, when you see people on the beaches and in public places who are not wearing masks, the possible outcome of that will be in terms of the spread of the disease?
Yeah, obviously we're very concerned that our public health message isn't resonating. We continue to try to figure out how to penetrate the message. The pictures that the chairwoman showed me are great examples of serious problems. And I can say that we will continue to try to message as well we can. We're going to encourage people to that have the ability to request or require masks when they're to continue to do that. We do think this is an important public health tool, and we're going to continue to try to figure out how to get more and more people to embrace it. I was just remarking when I will go home in the Baltimore area, I don't see anybody without a mask. But a lot of times when I walk through Washington, D.C., I see a lot of people without a mask. So there's different cultural approach to it. But we think it's an important public health message, and we're going to continue to stress it. I think it's going to be key. These social distancing strategies that we've learned are something we need to perfect, because we're going to need them to be our major defense again in October, November, and December.
Well, I hope that you can start with convincing our president to be a champion of advocating for masks to prevent the further spread of. I yield back.
Thank you. Congressman Molinar. And you unmute and then start from the outset here.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the opportunity, and Dr. Redfield, we appreciate your presence with us today, and want to thank you, the 5,000 members of your team that are helping during this crisis, and also just for the sacrifice that they and their families are making to help protect the vulnerable. And I want you, one of the areas that you brought up as a concern was the IT infrastructure. One of my priorities on this committee has been to provide funding to CDC's Public Health Data Modernization Initiative, and I think this pandemic is really the importance of that. In fact, some of the early reporting, CDC's response was hampered by an antiquated data system and a fractured public health reporting system across the United States. And I wondered if you could speak to the early response as well as what you've done since that time. And as we go forward, what do we need to do to really invest in this data modernization?
Thank you. And again, I want to thank the chair and this committee. You, I think, heard those discussions that I had, I think, in the first weeks of my directorship. Our capabilities, the one that I said was the most important was data. Data. We needed in real time, we needed actionable. And I had a briefing the first month that I was on with the opioid desk. They finished, this was in April of 2018. When they finished, I asked myself what the data was through, and they said March 2015. And I said, is that the most recent data we have? And they said, yes. And I said, I'm becoming a medical historian. And I shared that comment with the chair and the co-chair and others, and we're appreciative. We have a long way to go, though. It's not just the data system at CDC, and in some states, they have decentralized public health data collection. I have states that are still collecting data on pen and pencil. And so modernization that you all started, I do believe to get us over the goal line, it's going to require a investment. We're talking about building a comprehensive data system for the public health system of this nation. But when that is accomplished, it's going to be a gold mine. You know, we're able to do syndromic surveillance now, and that 2-year lag that I had, 3-year lag I had for opioid deaths, we now can solve in 48 hours. We saw it with the that we had with the e-cigarettes, how rapidly we were able to detect that because we could use syndromic surveillance. Just encourage you to continue to accelerate the ability for us to modernize this nation's system and get it done once and for all. It's going to have enormous health benefits for us across the nation to be able to respond to that which we don't know we're going to need to respond to. Even in my short time, we've had a volley. We've had unexplained hemorrhagic deaths from contaminated marijuana. We've now obviously had this. All of these things, we have the acute flaccid paralysis in children. All of these things would be enhanced so much if we had a real-time actionable data system across this nation.
Thank you, Doctor. You know, I want to also follow up with you along the lines of the data collection and talk with you about the skilled nursing facilities. It's no secret that nursing homes and long-term care facilities have been among the hardest hit during this pandemic, and data from CMS suggests that 26,000 nursing home residents have died from COVID-19 and more than 60,000 have fallen ill. However, only 80% of nursing homes have reported DC, so these numbers are only going to increase. 2 questions. How has the CDC been working with CMS to ensure greater compliance on reporting of infections and deaths at nursing homes? And then also, when do you expect that we could get this reporting as close as possible to 100%?
Thank you, Congressman. This is a major priority. CMS, Verma, and ourselves, our group, are working very closely together. This is really one of the key priorities to successfully combat the impact of this pandemic on nursing homes. And as you mentioned, we have the ability now to have these nursing homes required to report all of their infections to us and deaths, and for us to get those into CMS, and for CMS and public knows what nursing homes are doing well and what nursing homes aren't doing well. And we know which ones we need to go in and help them even more with infection control. I'm hopeful that we'll have this completed over the weeks ahead. This is a priority requirement now by CMS that these nursing homes do report. You know, it was just a couple weeks ago we were under 20%, and then recently 60, and now 80. And I think actually I heard numbers today that might be 90. So I think we're going to get this done hopefully before the beginning of July. It's a priority. Get it done this month.
Thank you, and I yield back.
Congresswoman Lee.
Is very, very time. Say, you know, and I think everyone recognizes we have a pandemic upon a pandemic in the African American community. And so today I just want to take a moment to offer my condolences to the Floyd family as we mourn and grieve his loss, and hope that justice is served in his memory. And that goes right into the disproportionate rate of African Americans and people of color who are dying from COVID-19. Now, Dr. Redfield, the PPP and Healthcare Enhancement Act, which became law April 25th, mandated that the CDC would report on COVID-19 data based on race, ethnicity, socioeconomic within 15 days. Now, within 21 days, excuse me. We received this report on May 15th, and of course, you signed this report. It was 2.5 pages long. It contained no new insights. And what it did was just link to websites, data that was outdated, and it was very limited on testing and demographics. In short, the CDC and the Trump administration did not complete the assignment at all. So, Dr. Friedman, first of all, what's your plan for how you're going to target resources and a federal response to Black and Brown communities, which are disproportionately being hit? And as you said, the impact is greater, the disproportion. How are you going to target a federal response if you don't have the data? You said that you would provide this. I actually called on May 18th to some of your deputies and asked for some of this data as it relates to where African Americans are being disproportionately hit. And I was told the CDC did not have the data to illustrate these disparities and must make assumptions. So I want to know, how are we going to report quickly so we can target the federal response? And then secondly, I co-chair the Asia Pacific American Caucus's Health Task Force, and I'm concerned about the fact that the data as it relates to the AAPI community is not disaggregated, would properly allocate resources and to ensure positive health outcomes. Actually, in one of your reports, you had the AAPI community designated as what are you going to do in terms of collecting data as it relates to the AAPI community, as it relates to cases and mortality, and how are you going to make sure that the report, your next report, which I think is due on June 14th, that tells us where to target these resources based on race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status?
Congressman Lee, I want to thank you for your question. And first, I personally want to apologize for the inadequacy of our response. It wasn't intentional. Unfortunately, it's just reflective of what I tried to say, is that we didn't have the data that we needed to be able to answer that in a responsive way. That data comes into us obviously from the state and local tribal health departments, but that response was not adequate. and I apologize, and unfortunately, it was under my signature, so I take responsibility. But I think there is going to be an announcement today that because of what you all have done with the CARES Act, it's now going to be a requirement for all laboratory tests to be reported to CDC to include the type of test, the zip code of the test, the ethnic and racial demographics, the age, and the sex. It's, as I said before in my opening speech, data is the roadmap. It's fundamentally the key first step that we need to do to address the health disparities that you so correctly have highlighted. And I think many of you know I spent 22 years practicing medicine in urban Baltimore. I understand firsthand the disparities of healthcare in this nation. This is why Congressman Cummings and I became close friends. I have every intent to get that data so that we can begin to understand. Clearly, increasing access to knowledge of infection in vulnerable communities is critical, getting testing available in there. I do think with
So Dr. Redfield, so what report are you going to release today so that we can have, so we know in advance what we can expect?
Yeah, it's not a report, Congressman. It's a requirement that the reporting to CDC now is going to include ethnic, race, age, and demographics and zip code. Generate exactly what you have been requesting very specifically. So we exactly where this virus is occurring.
Dr. Redfield, okay, so the next report to Congress is June 15th. Will we have that data based on the CARES Act requirement?
All I know is that whatever data I have, and I'm pushing to get it in a way that meets yours and my goal, I'm not going to be able to promise that it's going to be perfect on the 14th, but it's going to be a lot further along than it was in the last one. And I think we're going to get this by the 14th, by the next one. So you're going to...
And I know my time is up, but just let me ask you, will the AAPI data be disaggregated? We need that because otherwise we won't have a true picture of where to target resources.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make sure this data is full code level, Congresswoman.
No, I'm asking you the on the AAPI, the Asian American Pacific Islander community. For example, are you going to say the American community, this is the data? In the Filipino community, data. In the Japanese American community, this is the data. In the, disaggregating the Asian Pacific.
That I'll have to look into, but I will take your concern and recommendation that we see how to accomplish that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Congresswoman Herrera-Butler.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Dr. Redfield, for being here. I have a difficult question for you, but I think it's really important to really understand what we can do to not be in this place again. And I value so much your work and your many sleepless nights and the work of your agency, because I know they have been. I was reading an article. I saw an article from the Wall Street Journal, I think in April, and I saw one from the Times today about CDC and testing. One of the things that was quoted said, former officials in the CDC said the CDC's culture locked some of the agency's employees into a fixed way of thinking, helping to produce its first and most consequential failure in the crisis, its inability early on to provide state laboratories around the country with effective diagnostic tests. And then if I kind of fast forward over to where, I'm not trying to say I'm not trying to take a figure down, despite what everybody's probably thinking. I want to understand this. I understand that when the public health emergency was declared on January 31st, it meant that any lab had to get permission then to get approval to do our. Basically, it was about a month later before tests started really flowing. We know early on the control of the situation. They wanted, whoever made the decision, that it was aggregated and CDC was going to produce and send them out to the states. What we now know is those tests didn't work. They were sent to Washington State. Washington State had to send them back. And ultimately, what I feel like happened was, we have to have diagnostic testing ability, and we had to, in order to stop infection. Now we're at the place of limiting new new infections for reopening. And we've broken through some of the barriers. Thank goodness the private companies were able to step up. We broke down some of that bureaucracy and they were able to step in and fill in holes. I know in my community in Southwest Washington, my local health, I mean, I've spent months trying to get testing capability for private labs. I know that because of relationships, for example, within the Vancouver Clinic in Southwest Washington, they were able to use their relationships to get their testing capability going. It was kind of like everybody was doing their own thing to make it move forward, and we were trying to break down the bureaucracy. The Wall Street Journal says, this was back in April, that an FDA official flew to the CDC headquarters in Atlanta, visited the lab, quote, a mess, and it became clear that the tests had likely been contaminated with matter. The CDC then disputed that the lab was a mess, and there's been an investigation. I haven't seen the investigation results yet. Your heart and your soul is to protect and to promote the public health of the people in this country. There's no question about it. You have a long and distinguished career, which we're grateful for. In recognizing these problems, my question is, and I keep hearing, we just need to put more money into public. I agree, I want a real-time active data system. But this committee, in a bipartisan fashion, has increased funding for CDC, Strategic National Stockpile. We've instituted a rapid response team. We say yes to public requests, we really have. And yet, here, when it all counted, people in some places made decisions that all this was gonna be kind of constricted by the federal government. The federal government was going to be the one that innovated and then distributed it. And I don't know if all the money in the world can fix what some have called a culture where, quote again, this is the New York Times, the culture at the CDC is risk-averse, perfectionist, and ill-suited to improvising in a quickly evolving crisis. So when I read that, I don't think CDC, I think you guys are doing what you're doing in your lane. But wouldn't we all better be served if the doors of collaboration opened at the very beginning and it wasn't public health or private, or private labs, because we've got my challenges with how private labs have done things. But if we'd have thrown open the doors and said, together, we're going to move forward. And I would ask you, would you consider, I know you want your legacy to be building a robust public health system, but could your legacy also include fixing some of what seems like a siloed approach? And that's going to require you to fight upwards, I realize, not just downwards. But is that something you'd be opening to consider in terms of righting this ship so that the next time we're in this place, and I pray to God it's not in the fall, but it could be, but is that something you'd consider? And perhaps speak to that.
I appreciate your comments. A couple quick things. First, I do believe just levels that the CDC developed within 10 days a test from the time the sequence was published. That test is not a flawed test. It works perfectly. It was available in mid-January to diagnose the original cases in Washington, as you know. And its only limitation was in order to get that test, you had to send the blood to the CDC. And there was never a moment in this nation, they just had that limitation. There's no question there were shortcomings at CDC when we tried.
I have to push back on that one. My public health departments could not get that test.
Well, I'm saying if they chose to send it to CDC, they could get the test. That's what I would say, Congresswoman. We always had that capacity. The shortcoming is then we tried to manufacture the test so that each health department would have their own. In the manufacturing position anymore. It will be contracted out to a man. And in that, there was a shortcoming. There was a contamination. There's an inquiry to figure out what was there and why it happened. But I will say, within 5 weeks, it was corrected. And so for me, within 5 weeks of the sequence, we had the testing now available in the public health labs, which some people may think is a delay. As a virologist from the time of a new patent test in public health labs around the country, I think that's still an accomplishment.
So, let me add in there, though, that 6 weeks, Madam Chair, I beg that 6 weeks was the 6 weeks that we had. That 6 weeks, you said 5 weeks. On January 20th to February 29th, that's when we shut down. And now we are doing businesses. We're digging everybody out. That, I know as a virologist, that's good. But we have to get into the 21st century. We have to change the culture at the organization because that was the 5 weeks we had. That was our lead time.
If I could just make one last comment on this.
Madam Chair, thank you. I beg your,
I know the time's. Can I make one comment?
Yeah.
I know the time's up. I won't go through this. We can talk off the line on that. But the issue that really has to happen, one thing we have to correct is the day CDC got in the lane to make a public health test, the private sector had to be in the lane to make a test for the rest of America. It wasn't CDC. CDC makes the public health lane. It took, unfortunately, weeks and weeks and weeks before the private sector stepped up, all right, and developed. We now have, as you know, we've now done over 17 million tests. The private sector's in the game. The public health is a small part of it, but I think that has to change too.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Congressman Pocan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Redfield, for being with us. Dr. Redfield, I have a lot of questions, so if you can be as concise as possible, I would certainly appreciate that. It was inferred earlier by our ranking member that, and I think you answered the question, but that we don't have the worst amount of cases, the highest amount per capita on the planet. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
However, according to your data, CDC data, we've had over 1.8 million cases of coronavirus. That's nearly a third of all the cases on the planet, and by far the most of any country. Is that also correct?
Of those that have been reported, yes.
Yeah, and also we've had 106,000 deaths, by far the most in the world. Is that correct?
Again, have those been reported, yes.
Yeah, and our death rate is like 300 million, which is 6 times the reported global average. Is that correct?
I would have to double check that. I don't have that figure in my head, but I have confidence that you have data there. But I'd be glad to check that and get back.
Sure, thank you. In fact, there's countries out of 195 or so countries that exist on the planet that have a worse ratio per capita. Qatar, San Marino, Andorra, Bahrain, Kuwait, Luxembourg, Singapore. Altogether, their populations are 33.5 million people, about a tenth of the United States. So it's not exactly impressive to say that we don't have the worst, but for almost every country, we have the worst amount of cases that are out there. Do you have to agree, Dr. Redfield, that countries like Germany, with a rate of 220 out of 31 out of 100,000, and South Korea, 22 out of 100,000, have been more successful than the U.S. in controlling the spread of the coronavirus?
Yeah, based on the reported case, that would be correct.
Right. So I think one of the problems that we have in the United States, unfortunately, Dr. Redfield, is back in mid-April, your agency was putting together detailed step-by-step recommendations for businesses, child care facilities, restaurants, and others to reopen, and that got sidelined for a month. In fact, I think it finally was on May 20th, you released those guidelines, and on May 14th, you put out decision trees. Who made the decision to delay the reopening guidelines?
Again, all of these guidelines that we have developed, and as I mentioned—
the question specifically is who made the decision to delay?
Right, and I was just trying to answer, sir, that these guidelines, forming them was a reiterative process. So it wasn't a question of delaying the guidelines, it was a question of completing the process, sure the guidelines had the input of the different groups.
Who made the decision specific that they would be released on May 20th rather than any time sooner?
It would have been me, sir.
Okay, and were you at all in consultation with anyone at the White House, and if so, who?
No, we were working again through the interagency group. So again, that has multiple agencies' input when these guidelines cross over. As I mentioned, it's a collaborative
I can tell you that release, though, Dr. Redfield, in states like Wisconsin, where our state Supreme Court forced us open and other states were opening, came after all that happened. And it created a lot of cases after that. Let me ask you another question. So we know that chemical agents that are similar to tear gas itself can cough, which can spread COVID-19. Is that correct?
Definitely coughing can spread respiratory viruses, including COVID-19.
And chemical agents like tear gas can cause people to cough?
That's been my experience.
Have you made any advice to the president or report to any police agencies or the military to not use tear gas or chemical agents with the recent protesters because obviously that could cause an increase in COVID-19 due to the cough?
I think you raised an important point. We have advocated strongly the ability to have face coverings and masks available to protesters so that they can at least have those coverings. But you do raise an important question.
Yeah, would you make that recommendation to the president?
I'll pass on this comment to the next task force meeting. Yes.
Okay, I appreciate that. And with 6 seconds left, I will yield back.
I thank the gentleman. Congresswoman Clark.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and thank you, Dr. Redfield. As you acknowledged in your opening comments, you come before us today in a time of national and turmoil. This pandemic did not create inequities or racism, but it has magnified the lethal effects of all of those.
So true.
We will only emerge through this public health crisis, this economic crisis, and this moral crisis. Demand that our American ideal of equity truly applies to each and every one of us. Dr. Redfield, the CDC website pages of information on disparate health outcomes for people with asthma, heart disease, diabetes, to name a few. I understand from your answers to Congresswoman Lee's questions that tomorrow you will have an announcement, or today, later today, about mandatory demographic reporting. Definitely predictable that COVID-19 would disproportionately impact Black, Latinx, and Indigenous communities?
You know, Congresswoman, I don't know, but it's clear once we understood that individuals with certain medical conditions were greater at risk, once we, understood certain social factors in living conditions would be critical, I think it became rapidly self-evident.
Well, I can tell you it played out very, very quickly in my district. Yeah. And I think that is true across this country. And we have to do better. This plan that you're putting forth, is it a written plan that you will be sharing us with specific benchmarks on how you are going to collect this data?
Well, again, the announcement that's coming, it's actually coming from the Secretary of Health. It's not CDC, but it's CDC that's going to be getting this. But you highlight just such an important, and those of you who've been able to visit CDC, the whole area of health disparity, the whole area of social determinants of health, the whole area of making purposeful, meaningful progress, not just for COVID, but for, for all of the health outcomes that we have. I did mean what I said when I said the time is now to get a purposeful program to address these inequities.
I would, and I have visited CDC, and I appreciate your commitment to that. But in this particular case, with this pandemic reaction, there were public outcry and members of Congress and pressure to have this information. I'm interested in who wrote this plan that is going to be released today. Was that the CDC or someone within HHS?
It's in responsiveness, as I understand it, to the CARE Act, and HHS will be announcing it. I think
Do you know who wrote it?
It's really just meeting the criteria. It's not a plan in how to respond.
Well, what I would request is get a plan so that we can make sure that we actually collect this data. Yep. Good point. We've seen Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders have the highest COVID-19 rates of any race group in California. And in many states, Asian Americans have a case fatality rate significantly higher than the overall population. I hope you will do more than look into the disaggregating of AAPI information, make it happen. I also hope that you will add the LGBTQ community. June is Pride Month. This is a great time to add them to your forms, your surveillance forms, in particular, the person under investigation form. Your website also states that a lack of health insurance is one of the reasons that communities of colors face systemic health disparities, and in particular have been hard hit by COVID. Is it your professional opinion, then, that dismantling the ACA and the administration's proposed budget cuts of $1.6 trillion to Medicare and Medicaid could actually harm people, and in particularly people of color in this country?
You know, Congresswoman, the way I can answer this is that I share with you the deep commitment that all Americans get access to high-quality health care, and that we address access issues. I do know.
Do you think there is a way to address the disparities without expanding rather than reducing access to quality health insurance?
I think we clearly have to make sure that all Americans and expand the ability to get access to high-quality health care. The manner in which we do that, I'm not really here to comment on it.
I'm not asking you to comment on the manner. I'm just saying, in your professional opinion, to address these disparities if we do not expand rather than contract access to health care in this country.
And as I said, I'm firmly with you that we need to continue to expand access to high-quality health care in this country for everybody.
Thank you. I yield back.
Congresswoman Frankel.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you. I want to thank your staff, Gloria Inlud. I hope I set this up well for this, and I'm finding this meeting actually very enjoyable, even though I'm sitting at home. That makes it even better. I didn't have to get on one of those planes. Thank you, Dr. Redfield, for your service to our country. I have a few questions. First of all, Dr. Redfield, do you agree that the CDC might have learned more about the virus and the necessary response had we had greater global presence in the days and months leading up to the COVID outbreak?
Congressman, I think we would have benefited from having a greater presence, particularly in our CDC office in Beijing.
Thank you for that. And in your written testimony, you say that contact tracing is a disease control strategy and involves case and contact investigation followed by implementation of intervention. You've also, I know you testified at the Senate that contact tracing is going to be the difference from succeeding in containing this outbreak. So I just, a few questions in regards to contact tracing. Your predecessors, Tom Frieden, has suggested 100,000 people in the country to effectively contact trace. I'd like you to comment on that. And then a few other things. The community determined the right number of contact tracers they need to respond to the pandemic.
Thank you very much. I've spoken to Tom about this. I know 100,000. I mentioned that I've estimated between 30 and 100,000. It is sizable. I think we won't really know until we work state by state. We have met with all 50 states and jurisdictions and some of this metropolitan areas that are cities that we have also, and to work with them to figure that out. I'm happy that many of the states have started to really expand. A number of them have already added 1,000, 1,500 contact tracers. We're working with them. CDC has made available through our foundation the ability for states. We will allow them to hire people to help augment the epidemiologists and the leadership group that they need. And then we're looking at them with the resources we gave them. We're hopeful that AmeriCorps will be another source. But we did get this built, and we have to get it built between now and September and get these public health workforces up. And in some states, it may be 500. In other states, it may be 5,000. We're in the process of doing that state by state by state to help them understand what is that workforce they need.
What exactly are you doing to build the contract tracing?
So what we're doing is really a couple. We have over 600 CDC people, but we've, through our foundation, CDC Foundation, is there to hire for the states additional personnel, and we can augment that substantially. That process is ongoing. In addition, obviously, we've dispersed the resources that you all have given us to the states to encourage them, and I know hired on their own over 1,000 individuals that are being trained as contact tracers to work under the supervision of the people that they hired through our foundation. And we're going to continue to do that. And lastly, I'm hopeful that AmeriCorps will also in each of the states be having a public health workforce that will provide more long public health workforce. So we're working state by state by state See them augment, and as I mentioned, some states have already augmented over 1,000. Finding that magic number, I don't know. I do think in some states it's going to be over 5,000 people, maybe 10,000. In other states, it's going to be 300 to 500 people what they need. But it is fundamental.
Like most of you, I was appalled and profoundly troubled by the video images of the incident that ended with Mr. Floyd's tragic death. Within hours of his death on May 25th, the FBI had opened a criminal investigation to determine whether the actions by the former Minneapolis Police Department officers involved in the law. We're moving quickly in that investigation, and we're going to follow the facts wherever they may lead in our pursuit of justice. Mr. Floyd's family, a lot of families who have lost loved ones in recent weeks, are suffering right now and trying to find a way forward. In fact, our entire country is trying to find a way forward. That's because this is not just about George Floyd. This is about all of those over the years who've been unjustifiably killed or had their rights violated by people entrusted with their protection. When law enforcement fails to fulfill its most basic duty to protect, particularly members of a minority community, it not only tarnishes the aware, but erodes the trust that so many of us so hard to build. And when people feel that we haven't lived up to the that they place in us, it is understandable that they want to speak out and protest. And the FBI holds sacred the rights of individuals to peacefully exercise their First Amendment freedoms. Nonviolent protests are signs of a healthy democracy, not an ailing one. The FBI's mission is to protect the American people and uphold the. That mission is both dual and simultaneous. It is not contradictory. In engaging with our communities during these protests, we in law enforcement must balance the safety and security of our communities with our citizens' constitutional rights. One need not and must not come at the expense of the other. In recent days, the violence, threat to life, and destruction of property that we've seen in some parts of the country jeopardizes the rights and safety of all citizens, including peaceful demonstrators, and it has to stop. We're seeing people who are exploiting this situation to pursue violent extremist agendas, anarchists like Antifa and other agitators. These individuals have set out to sow discord and upheaval rather than join in the righteous pursuit of equality and justice. And by driving us apart, they're undermining the urgent work and constructive engagement of all those who are trying to bring us together, our community and religious leaders, officials, law enforcement, and citizens alike. Many have suffered from the violence instigated through these radicals and extremists, including members of our own law enforcement family, officers killed or gravely injured while just doing their jobs, fulfilling their duty to the public by trying to keep everyone safe. We are not in any way trying to discourage peaceful protesters. And to those citizens who are out there making your voices heard through peaceful, lawful protests, we in law enforcement hear you. We have to make sure that our policing and our investigations are conducted with the professionalism and commitment to equal justice that you all deserve. But we are also committed to identifying, investigating, and stopping individuals who are inciting violence and engaging in criminal activity. So at the FBI, we're focusing our efforts on with maintaining public safety in the communities we're all sworn to protect. We're making sure that we're tightly lashed up with our state, local, and federal law enforcement partners across the country by standing up 24-hour command posts in all of our field offices. We've directed our 200 joint terrorism task forces around the country to assist law enforcement with apprehending and charging violent agitators who are hijacking. On a national level, we're soliciting tips, leads, and activities through our National Threat Operations Center, NTOC. And over the past few days, like the Attorney General, I've been speaking with law enforcement leaders in various parts of the country to ensure that we're providing the support they need and to let them know that it's ready to assist wherever we can. The relationships that we've built with our law enforcement and community partners are more important now than ever, because the reality is we can't do our jobs without the trust of the American people. I want to close by reiterating that the FBI will remain steadfast in its mission to protect the American people and uphold the Constitution. Civil liberties and civil rights has been part of our mission since the days of the Civil Rights Movement. Those investigations are at the heart of what we do for the simple reason that civil liberties and civil rights are at the very heart of who we are as Americans. Before the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the federal government largely left protection to state and local governments, and it took the Mississippi burning case and the Civil Rights Act for the federal government and the FBI to get off the sidelines and to begin to fully protect civil rights for all people of color. Since then, identify and prevent hate crimes and to investigate abuses of power and authority. Our civil rights cases are among the most important work we do, and that will. Now, I will repeat today what I've long believed about the men and women of law enforcement. It takes an incredibly special person to willingly put his or her life on the line for a complete stranger. And to get up after day and do that is extraordinary. And in these turbulent times, we won't forget the bravery of our law enforcement members who have risked life and safety to protect the public and keep the peace. But the difficulty of that job doesn't diminish the role in society, which is to protect and serve all citizens, no matter their race, creed, orientation, or station in life. And when we lose sight of those solemn obligations as we serve, the protectors can quickly become the oppressors, particularly color. As law enforcement, we're bound by an oath to serve all members of our community with equal compassion, professionalism, dignity, and respect. The American people should expect nothing less from us. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Donald Washington, Director of the United States Marshal Service. First of all, thank you, Attorney General Barr. Let me begin by specially noting that today marks the first of 3 days in which the family, the friends, and the loved ones will host memorials to honor the life of George Floyd in Minnesota, North Carolina, and in Texas. On behalf of the men and women of the United States Marshal Service, and personally, sympathy and my heartfelt condolences to the family of George Floyd. What started as peaceful protests in Minnesota after the death of Mr. Floyd has morphed into a national emergency, resulting in many injuries to many people, thousands of arrests, along with arson, theft, and vandalism to property in many cities. As of last night, U.S. Marshals report damage and vandalism to 21 federal courthouses located in 15 states and the District of Columbia. There has been damage and vandalism to many other federal properties. The U.S. Marshal Service is assisting other agencies in efforts to address violent disturbances that have occurred in the District of Columbia and in other cities around the United States. Peaceful protests are good for our country. This right should be respected by all persons, and this right absolutely deserves the full protection. Among our basic functions is the absolute duty to protect people who are exercising constitutional rights. However, rioters, thieves, looters, and their protagonists are criminals. Peaceful and lawful demonstrations and protests. These criminals threaten our basic constitutional rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and they must be brought to justice. Since the earliest days, just after our nation's birth, U.S. Marshals have worked to ensure the rule of law by making sure that the federal judicial process operate unfettered and unintimidated. So worked tirelessly over the years to bring thousands and thousands of fugitives to justice. One of our primary missions is to find and protect endangered children. In the last week, U.S. Marshals have coordinated with U.S. attorneys and state, local, and federal protect protesters and to address the criminal acts of others. DEFs are assisting with and conducting criminal investigations required by the criminal acts of persons who are instigating and causing violence against persons and property, where such acts violate federal laws. Working with our local law enforcement partners, securing federal properties threatened by criminal acts and protecting persons from the violent acts of others. I believe strongly that this special mission is important to our democracy. We will protect those who are engaged in lawful protests, but we will arrest those who commit felonies in our presence. We are working violent crime warrants and investigating gang activities that incite terrorism. We are assisting and partnering with federal, state, and local authorities consistent with our broad federal jurisdiction. To our local governments and private sector leaders, we know that we are stronger. We will achieve our collective goals of protecting lawful protesters and lawful protests while also enforcing the law. I do not pretend even for a moment to speak for the other leaders here, but I am certain that we all want local leaders to have the confidence and the conviction to request and utilize resources to fight violence and to protect our communities. The U.S. Marshal Service is your partner too. In summary, the U.S. Marshal Service will continue to perform our many day-to-day missions, and we will also assist our federal, state, and local partners during this emergency. We will work urgently to keep citizens and law enforcers safe. I thank our citizens for their patience and for their continuing support, and I look forward to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Regina Lombardo, Director of ATF. For many special agents, one of the proudest moments is when you raise your right hand to take the oath of office to support and defend the United States Constitution. And we take that oath seriously. However, we don't know exactly what we will be faced with, what challenges we will have to overcome in order to uphold that oath that we took. In this moment, we express our warmest sympathies to the family of George Floyd, acknowledge the pain and suffering for his family. We also have sympathy for those that are suffering across the country. Unfortunately, constitutionally protected right to peacefully assemble has sometimes turned to the riots and criminal acts. The resulting violence involves crimes of ATF's core mission. Shootings, responding to shootings, burglaries, arsons, bombings, especially destructive devices such as the Molotov cocktail. At the request of the Attorney General, ATF has provided every available resource. We have deployed a large number of special agents here in our nation's capital. We have supported the Washington Metropolitan Police Department, the United States Secret Service, and the United States Park Police to protect the public, property, and the national landmarks that belong to each and every one of you. Our national response teams are here in order to quickly respond to the emerging arson incidents. With the DC Fire to assess, investigate the 7 incendiary fires in the DC area caused by criminals, including the arson at St. John's Church, the AFL-CIO, the National Park Service Building, DC Fire District 4 Police Department. The individual we believe responsible for that fire at the Metro PD's Fort has been arrested and charged. Our certified fire investigators, chemists, fire engineers, and explosive specialists are working around the clock to support the ongoing safety of operations. Across the country, ATF Special Agent Operations investigators from all 25 of our field divisions are responding to shootings, arsons, bombings, and thefts of federal firearms licensed dealers. We are providing investigative support and assistance to all of our and state partners. ATF has responded to numerous shooting scenes at the disturbances of cities that is actively working with local law enforcement, and we are entering into our National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, NIBIN. Our National Tracing Center is running traces on the recovered firearms, and we are collecting DNA from shell casings and ballistic evidence. Our crime gun intelligence centers are collecting valuable intelligence and sharing all of that information in a joint environment. ATF's JTTF representatives are working with the FBI in multiple cities, as well as our Department of Justice partners, the U.S. Marshal Service, the DEA, and the Bureau of Prisons, all state and local federal law enforcement working in partnership. Our special agents and certified fire investigators, more than 847 arsons, over 76 explosive incidents, and providing valuable technical expertise and intelligence support. 2 of our national response teams, our NRT, have been activated and responding to Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota. We have developed efficient and effective and quickly assess the scenes even in an unstable environment. ATF has also responded to 73 federal firearms licensed dealers. We have identified many suspects and made arrests and recovered many firearms already. We have responded to assault and murders of our law enforcement partners. Our team of ATF professionals at our National Correlation Center and our laboratories and our tracing center are all working day and night to make those arrests. We are on the streets, making cases, and protecting the American public from violent criminals. You do not have to be in law enforcement to know that this is dangerous work. ATF has answered the call. As the Attorney General stated, the most basic function of government is to provide security for the people who live their lives and exercise their rights, and we will meet that responsibility. This is our, and we deeply are committed to that mission to protect and serve. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michael Carval, the Director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. The Bureau of Prisons staff, federal law enforcement officers who are often called upon to assist during crisis situations within our communities. The Attorney General asked the BOP to request and assist other law enforcement agencies in maintaining order and peace in the District of Columbia. BOP crimes are highly trained to deal with various types of emergency situations, including crowd control and civil disturbances. They are experienced in conflict resolution. In the aftermath of the tragic death of George Floyd, it is unfortunate that these services are necessary. On behalf of the BOP and its 36,000 staff, I extend our greatest sympathies to the family for his loss. We also respect the rights of the public to express their frustration and grief. We appreciate those who seek to ensure the events surrounding Mr. Floyd's death are never repeated again. It's shameful those voices are being drowned out by those seeking to incite violence and destroy property. I'm proud of the work our staff do every day to keep our institutions safe, and I'm honored that they were called upon to assist our communities. Thank you.
My name is Tim Chair of the Drug Enforcement Administration, and I'm honored to represent.
我想食禁住佢啊！不走啊！喂！玩嘢啊！呢個人撞車，跟住就走咯。我係成個爆撚咋！咁就有 first aid， 仲有 first aid 嘅，係未走嘅啲 first aid 就。可以。個 first aid 就仲未走嘅。可唔可以冇跟住我啫？唔好喐，你唔好喐。可唔可以冇跟住我？你坐低先。可唔可以冇跟住我？你坐低先啦。你坐低先。可唔可以冇跟住我？你坐低先啦。哦，係喎。俾我打啊！ 5人喎。
飲醉咗啊！
屌！飲醉。
因為俾車撞定俾人打啊？
俾車撞啦！嗰邊前邊嗰架車仲喺度嘅。
喂，你冇喐，你冇喐，你唔好再喐啦，好冇？先生，我幫你 call 把車。call 就冇嘅，冇反應啊！冇反應啊！你係做 EMR and first aid。我知啊。可以啊！你繼續做嘢。唔係啊，佢要即刻執啊！阿 Sir， 佢要即刻執啊！佢塊面爛啦。阿 Sir，EMR 嚟嘅。係 EMR 嚟，幫佢執咗先。你過嚟先。各位，下嚟。
咁就啱啱有架車撞咗前面㗎嗰個。
眼受傷啊，要架救護車啊要。
話俾車撞啊！
先生冷靜，
冷靜。
先生冷靜，之後院前救護員嘅嚟幫你嘅，好冇？冷靜，
放鬆，係會有啲痛，係冇？
有冇擒班 Jason？
你而家
死！
擒班 Jason？
行開死！
我得個時間。
你係咪隻手心口定係腳㗎？
後啊！
冇喐，
我想我有錢。
冇咁。
唔好意思。
Step back，其他人散開先啊。OK。
知道。
碎撚晒啦！
冇喐。先生唞氣有冇問題？咁就啱啱就撞到車啦，有個人撞車啦。有冇唔舒服？好唔舒服。撞車就我呢個位唔見得㗎啦。NS。冇喐。
飲醉咗啊！
喺我袋度有啲。係啊，好慘啊！嗰個人個眼係爆咗嘅。先生冷靜啲係啊！嗰架車。嗰架車仲喺前邊，不知所謂嘅嗰架車。
即係
係佢見到架車，佢見到個人都照推埋佢。
嗰個車係專登撞佢㗎，唔係佢個問題啊。
即係架車走咗。
即係。
玩咗日啦。
邊個見到？你見到係咪？係咪話撞到架小巴定點啊？
唔係撞到個 van 仔，
撞到個 van 仔。
個 van 仔仲喺前面嘅。
係嘢事嚟㗎。
係事。車牌咩？見唔見到啊？出唔出差？
喺前面，仲喺前面㗎。仲喺前面。未喐過。影到咯。影個細台。
有影住。
係啊。先生幫你除隻標度。呢啲機喺裏邊。
因為你同佢去。
係啊。
阿 Sir， 帶我同事。
嚟啊！
佢有揾啦，係。
阿 Sir，我識。Alan。我知喺邊。咁就前邊有個僆仔撞，個僆仔撞。睇車入翻嚟先。OK 啊。大家我要跟一跟個阿 Sir， 要佢問我個車牌喺邊。咁我個反光煙都應該掉得㗎啦。我之前。成扎都係血嚟嘅，嗰個傷人嘅。
你係咪要幫手嘅麻煩你熄嗰直播？有啲個人資料，希望你影到，有冇問題？
冇咩，介唔介意幫佢？
我幫你揸住先，幫你揸住。
係要話俾個傷者知啊嘛。傷者喺前邊。
啱啱呢個彌敦道大馬路大馬路恒生銀行。同埋花旗就有個市民落車之後咧，即係亂衝馬路啦，就俾架貨 van 撞。
威嗰度啊！
就俾藍色嘅貨 van 咧就撞到。然後藍色貨 van 咧就向呢個豪方方向離開咗嘅。而家喺 朗豪坊對出嘅斑馬線嗰邊，有防暴喺度調查緊。
咁樣難法，
冇事啊嘛，冇事。哦，個傷者嘅。好恐怖啊！你低新聞就啱啱聽到警方就話咧，而家跑到入內街之後咧就。大家爆眼，呢度爆眼，撞到爆眼嘅，而家不省人事。
喺呢個位，佢呢隻眼係好似入邊都爆咗。唔好意思啊，我交咗俾另一個記者朋友做，因為我依家就抹翻個
傷者嘅啲血跡啦。
係咪飲大咗啊？係飲大咗，我估計可能。跟住個反乾衣都應該都唔要得㗎，反乾衣全部都係血嚟嘅。
係啊，影到啊！有個南亞人士就影到傷者咧就爆眼，係啦。而家警方係處理緊㗎啦，
我係做緊 live 嘅嗰陣時係仲我想問係咪有架白色私家車出現？未啊，冇啊，冇啊，得呢架車啫嘛，得呢架車㗎咋？佢冇見過白色車，得呢個 Hiace 見過。
哦
冇見過白色。
係一個人講多一次啊！啱啱咧就係有一個啱落車，即係落小巴。嘅人士咧嘅市民咧就向住。你 show 埋個後記者證俾佢哋睇啊，因為費事。咁有冇反乾衣啊？反乾衣着翻反乾衣。唉。係啊，呢架係呢架，啱啊。好衰，超級衰啊！唔睇人㗎，照撞埋。所以我咪唔停 live 咯，因為啱啱做直播係。你都係睇到㗎嘛？係。係啦，呻一輪，跟住佢趌起身睇到咗，唔好走啊！開咗門。係啊，跟住咧，而家喺度調查緊㗎啦。佢睇唔睇嗰部車咩車熄身啊？因為有啲街坊就細車。呢個白色有啲白。有市民話咧就白色嘅白色嘅私家車咧係捉個市民，跟住不顧而去。係咯，佢講黑色咧。有啲依家瞓咗嗰個。哇！啱啱有個行家影到個嗰個傷者，可以問翻佢拎翻佢資料。佢影到啦。係。呢個位喎，就係呢個位啫嘛。就係呢個位，啱佢一出到嚟就撞咗埋。我哋坐喺度傾偈啊，準備嘥嘅時候，屌你老味！走個人出嚟，行到出去馬路 boom！ 我發生咩事啊？我即刻成個人醒晒啊！咁就夜晚仲識 live 嘅，跟住個私家車就撞交，唔係私家車係van仔撞到個車。
匯豐銀行斜嗰邊咯，匯豐銀行喺呢度啦，跟住喺嗰邊呢邊發生嘅個意外，啲血跡仲喺度嘅，呢度發生嘅呢個對面啦，咩呢個銀行對面啦。好慘好慘！你自己教啊！私家車嚟㗎，小巴嚟㗎，加紅巴，加紅頂，加紅頂。有冇影低個車牌啊？嗰兩塊玻璃仔，其他塊可唔可以帶我去睇一睇？哦，原來係小巴嚟嘅。佢飲醉酒，跟住佢之後佢可能想嘅，佢飲醉酒拍過小巴嗰度望，咁跟住佢就即係車唔車啊咁樣，跟住佢之後個司機冇理佢嬲到得打爆咗玻璃，跟住佢就走咗，跟住之後個小巴司機呆咗，咁嗰陣時我同另一個路人見到，我就話我哋係咪應該一齊去追佢啊？因為佢打爆咗啲玻璃喎，咁跟住佢就我哋有時我頭先一直追，跟住佢就俾車撞。咁就啱啱有個街坊話唔係黑士嚟嘅，係小巴嚟嘅，唔好意思啊。咁就小巴係咯，個小巴係呢個小巴咯。個本人呢，咁就爆咗個玻璃啦，因為啱。唔係喎，如果碎嘅話喺嗰邊碎過，點解要？唔係啊，佢打落去嘛，佢拳頭，咁所以佢咪爆入面咯。咁呢度都有玻璃碎嘅。唔知啊，我好肯定，我睇清楚係當佢兜嘢咁樣揮錘打㗎。咁就爆咗玻璃咯。唔係呢部車就係都係打爆玻璃先，跟住先走。咁就個 number 係有兩架咯，我唔知係邊架嘅其實。呢架係 ES4830，應埋佢呢個小巴喎。係啊，啲小巴都唔慢㗎，一揸咧揸得好快㗎。係喎，有冇人有反光啊？有冇燈啊？呢度有聽喎，唔係血跡嚟㗎喎，屌！唔係啊，唔關事啊，呢度一定唔係呢架車撞，唔係呢架車咩？唔係呢架車撞啊！屌，又唔係呢架車喎。黑色車撞嘅，呢個係打爆玻璃之後佢走咯。佢打爆人哋個玻璃。咁嘅係打爆玻璃，跟住就想走，俾車撞。咁我交俾另一個人講啦，你講照講得㗎啦。件事就係呢個有個人飲醉酒，咁想叫呢個小巴佢，咁跟住之後咧個司機咧就貌似係因為佢係泊第3、第4架啦，咁當然佢就唔會係下一個車去嘅，係啦係唔係車去嘅車啦，跟住佢一嬲得滯就打爆咗個玻璃咗呢度，咁入面咧座位咧都會有玻璃碎嘅，咁就仲有玻璃碎喺裡面嘅，係啦，同埋呢個地下出面嘅地下都有嘅，咁咧。佢疑似咧就係因為驚自己打爆咗玻璃，要負啲咩責任，咁就走咗去。佢係飲醉嘅喎。佢飲醉咗。係啦，咁佢而家飲醉酒，而家想破壞啊嘛，咁佢咪驚咯，佢咪要走咯。咁走咗就走咗去馬。咁就我哋翻去嗰邊睇一睇咯，因為一陣都要問一問，因為有交通意外，啲阿 Sir 會過嚟問一問。同埋我個反光衣都係有血跡嘅，我都你點樣整到啊？唔係啊，佢啱啱推我咯，係啊，跟住就成手都係佢啲血跡咯，跟住我就係咯，我就抹咗咯。全身有個豬。可唔可以幫我開聽完跟住轉分？俾車撞等等。咁樣有時佢3個 K 人可以幫你聯絡。 等。
嗰度正經嘅唔好提啦，而家佢咁閪慘啊，俾架車撞到咁樣。
唔係，你聽咗先。
嗱，你唔識啊，我先講俾你。
佢真係撞，佢真係。
唔使講咁多啊。
係啊，唔好理啦，算啦。有啲
而家咁樣做人一落車。
flashlight。嗰個傷者仲喺嗰邊啦。阿 Sir， 個事件就係咁嘅。啱啱嗰個飲醉酒個人咧，就企咗喺呢度，個小巴就行過嚟呢度，剝爛咗個小巴嘅個玻璃，跟住就跑咗去嗰邊，跟住嗰個就撞佢。
有人要緊嘅，佢都唔係話你唔啱，可能捉我講埋我留手捉你啦。激動就我哋冇錯係啊。救咗人先咁撚樣啦，救咗人先算啦。處理緊啊！處理緊㗎啦，冷靜啲。我閪嚟㗎，唔係你冷靜，唔撚抵得佢真係。你冷靜啲先。人哋傷成，唉死啦！唔該慘。
處理緊。
你傷成咁你老母，我唔識佢我都幫佢啦。
收我聲，你繼續做先，過去。咁就嗰個人。
見到罪案，
佢唔應該同你責任啫嘛，佢衝出馬路控制唔到㗎喎。
但係佢為什麼樣唔打架小巴咧？又會唔會諗到？喂，佢係14年，咁冇用啊！佢係老人家屌，14年而家革命，可能有啲兄弟有啲手機入咗去。因
為白色車撞乜都睇唔之後，
唔係白
色車撞嘅，但係白色車，我嗰時以為佢停低咗，跟住啲人其他人喺度追住架白色車，我以為架白色車撞。OK， 即係乜都睇唔到嘅白色車。係白色車應該係啱啱經過啦，嘣然之後停低咗，咁我摸唔住咯。
咩車牌？我想問下。我想問下個白色車牌係幾多啊？
唔係，但係唔關白色車事。
唔係，我想問。
白色車係行過啫。
我想問下啫，大家係影到個白色車牌啫。我哋
一直以為白色車撞，
有冇相啊？有冇相嗰啲啊？
冇相，但係我記得個車牌咯。
可唔可以照噏出嚟？
咁樣
唔緊要啦，你唔緊要啦，你照噏出嚟啊。
5238。
PJ。5238。
佢應該唔係白色車撞嘅，即係啱啱經過啫。
唔關白色車事嘅，跟住就佢係經過嘅。咁你要揾警察就係黑色車撞嘅。係，其實係黑色車撞嘅。我依家行過去睇，俾你睇一睇嗰個黑色車係點樣咯？依家俾人截查，俾人停住咗喺度。應該問緊佢點撞啊咁樣啊，同埋應該都要扣分噶啦，因為撞人唔止扣分啊，應該行過去嗰邊睇一睇先。咁呢架車係呢架車嘅，唔關呢個的士嘅，係呢架私家車。咁就呢架私家車就撞人嘅。冇啊！咩啊？做直播啫，做緊直播。做直播。問到呢個人資料。可以。你唔好企我咁就睇落去個玻璃都整爛嘅，應該自己整爛嘅個玻璃，犯法㗎。
你俾人撞爛咯，你歪曲事實啦。
咁撞爛法係咁，我想問係點撞法嘅？
你揸住先啦，
的士佬答到你啊，問的士佬，的士佬睇晒。
咁呢度就暫時問唔到個的士佬咯。係啊，呢架車撞㗎。跟住佢話玻璃爛咗喎。 呢個唔係啊，人參唔好掂啊，費事佢嘅話你。喺呢度係咪啊？係啊，人參貴啲啊，玻璃貴啲嘅，你覺得？啊，玻璃唔係一個問題啫。唔係。而家處理都唔係佢話事啦，係咪先 ？For example，
咁我話俾你聽啊，不如問下你啊，自己條命緊要啲啊。
梗係自己條命。
自己條命緊要啊嘛，咁做乜撚嘢亂咁衝啦？問題而家唔係我紅燈啊嘛，我行緊噶嘛。
我知啊，你唔係紅燈。
咁我都唔知咩事㗎，你撞埋嚟。
咁嗰個人飲醉酒啊嘛。
飲醉酒。
佢都唔知自己做緊咩。
飲都唔好飲啊嘛。啱啱啊！
啱啊！
係咪？
咁你都，
所以我咪戒咗酒咯。
你都要，
所以我咪
戒酒好啊！
我都唔想屌個頭。咁問題，你話我撞佢，你睇我車頭有冇撞到人？冇啊嘛，唔係我撞人啊，我俾人撞，嘥緊咗時間，係啊，笠咗個位啊！
妖玩人嘅，全部都係。
唔緊要啊！如果咧你需要嘅車廂，但我唔識搞咯。我同佢講聲，你識搞呢單嘢。好啊！如果唔係咧，可以就搞呢個得唔緊要，我講出我自己真係見到嘅嘢啫。
我想問你見到啲咩咧？
我唔想同記者任何嘢交代，我就係盡翻個公民責任。就係
唔係問下啫，冇露樣㗎。
我知。
OK 啊，可以冇問題。
我哋想同啲執法者搞。
呢啲人呢啲我係藍絲嚟㗎啦。咁就呢度有起碼5個防暴警員啦。咁就前面都有防暴警員啦，翻去嗰邊睇一睇個環境點樣先。咁就再睇下另一度，暫時依家就有2個畫面啫。係啊，有2個畫面出現緊嘅，不過我唔識點出現，唔識點搞2個畫面。個畫面就我真係走喺呢度附近嚇。好。咁就另一個畫面去翻嗰邊先。咁就有救護車到咗啦，現場有救護車到咗嘅。咁就好多人圍住晒喺度咯。呢個唔係喎。分條路出嚟啊！收乜撚嘢皮啊？你咪要我收你皮啊？分條路出嚟啊！正常，呢個係嘅。分開啊！打靠少少呢條路啊！人命緊要定係你拍字緊要啊？陣啦！唔好意思，咁唔使啊，我唔使錄影㗎。我唔使錄㗎。報警㗎，佢哋先頭報警。我哋先報警㗎，我先睇到㗎。而家冇記者喺度，邊個救啊？係咪黐線㗎？冇錯。冇事。黐線㗎。唔緊要。我車好多班嘅朋友啦。唔該晒。咁就上咗救護車啦。係咯，啱啱突然間有個人同我鬧緊。 唔緊要，打叫朋友。唔緊要，識嘅。
咁好啦，我哋暫時繼續喺度影住先啊！我轉頭會問一問佢哋到底係點樣俾車撞啊？問下佢哋發生啲咩事啊！咁之後咧就冇錯啊！傷者係飲醉酒就係爆咗人哋小巴塊玻璃啦，跟住就俾人追，佢就衝咗出馬路，咁樣就俾車撞啦。呢個攞啲其他嘢，佢哋自己 set 飛。冇問題啊！呢啲你有紅膠話咁入翻，好撚容易。鬥個 first aid 喂，講咩事？係咩事？
頭先咧就聽一個 first aid 講就話有一即係嗰個頭先傷者咧就打爆咗一個小巴，個小巴就彌敦道去到嗰度追住佢之後。嗰個傷者又衝咗出去，跟住咁啱係紅燈嗰陣時，有架車就衝咗過嚟。所以我唔肯定幾多時速啦，唔係即係幾多速啦，係撞到佢，然之後佢係喺地下嗰度類似係碌過定唔知點即係刮傷咗喺地下啦。之後佢我哋係嘗試撳住逃走。
OK， 咁傷者係而家佢係傷咗邊一個？
佢傷咗係主要係塊面係類似係刮傷咗，即係開咗，仲係大咁。
OK， 係啊。但係有冇話好似之前根據有啲媒體係報道話爆眼咁，有冇呢一回事？應該冇。應該冇。OK。就咁睇我唔見有。好。因為我唔肯定。OK，好唔該晒。個講解翻啦。講完啦。講解咗啦。咁我係啦，我哋可以行前少少影翻嗰個出事現場。小心啊！有車過啊！有車過啊！攤血。走咗，淨係撞完就走咗嗰個小巴就，即係撞完就走咗。咁撚虛嘅，去睇到喎。屌你，空級爆撚咗啊！轉彎啊，轉彎嗰度啊！喂，係咪有料啊？呢啲料。因為頭先，好係啦，可以唔好影咯。冇啊，冇影到你㗎。咁就喂，靚仔唔好影入面啊！喂，咁樣影行規啦，影入面啦，啲私隱嚟㗎嘛，咁樣影法。行家係咁啊！有冇私隱㗎？打做 case 有冇私隱㗎？朗豪坊咩朗豪坊啊？睇下先。打爆玻璃小巴。咩朗豪坊咩朗豪坊？行啦。上次。係啊，因為佢打爆小巴司機個玻璃。一齊行啊！好啊，係自己專訪自己啦。我有辦法揾你㗎。點解喎？俾料嚟啊！俾啲料嚟啊！咁啊小巴講下冇，因為佢咁應該飲醉酒啦，咁應該想翻屋企先咁嘅嘢。喺彌敦道銀行中心，咁佢就想上小巴。咁因為咧前面仲有架未開㗎嘛，咁後邊唔會開㗎嘛。係啊。咁之後啦，咁佢就拍個玻璃，拍個車門玻璃啊。係。跟住一拍，拍爆咗。嚇！拍咗幾下，爆咗。之後啊？跟住個小巴司機落車追佢。落車追佢，追完好啊追啦，咁跟住
個小巴司機捉一捉佢，咁佢劈開咗，就再即刻衝出馬路，咁因為咁一衝出去啦，咁之後架深藍色嘅 van 仔就炒低咗佢，咁咪即刻瞓低咗唔喐得嘅，係啦。咁跟住啦，佢可能瞓一陣醒一醒就起身跑到嚟呢度就瞓低咗，就見到大家做嗰樣嘢。哦好。但係嗰日撞佢嘅車係走咗，停咗，俾人截停咗㗎啦。之後咧？咁佢而家仲喺前面。應該喺前面。我哋前面望下先。我哋前面望下先。再炸料。去前面望下，見唔見到嗰架車啊？我哋。
即係今日都見到，即係警民關係係即係都可以合作嘅，原來唔係就對立嘅。咁其實今日係即係呢樣嘢，我唔想講，係唔好講。即係唔係即係我都係即係一事還一單還一單嘅。咁今日即係警員係都真係有協助傷者係即係個處理傷勢嘅。咁即係都真係無可否認嘅。咁如果平時即係啲警員係唔俾急救員啦進入封鎖線，咁其實個情況可能就真係大家都不堪設想啊。咁我哋而家就去揾一份涉事嘅車輛啊，即係撞到人不顧而為啊，就走咗啊！咁呢個係一個好不負責嘅行為啊！佢唔係走咗，前面走佢咁樣唔停低喺現場都好不負責啦嘛！你完全冇慰問個傷者，你走 Q 咗跟住，即係我覺得呢個行為其實真係不負責任嘅都，即係我撞到人，我理應係落去慰問個傷者先啦，睇下有咩協助啦，係咪？佢唔係喎，自己走撚咗喎，大佬點同你玩啊？係咪呢架？喂，你問下問下先喎，驚唔係喎？應該係啊，睇晒企喺度。唔緊要，你去前面影啊！我呢邊。唔係呢架咩？的士定咩㗎？佢話前面嗰個 van 仔深藍色 van 仔啊嘛，唔係啊，爛玻璃嗰個小巴嚟㗎，個小巴過出邊喎。唔係，佢而家揾咗個撞嗰架車，我哋話揾到啦。佢喺嗰邊咩？未啊？咩啊？未啊？就係而家咁樣。邊係個目的啊？嗰架車邊係撞人㗎？係撞人嗰架車㗎？撞人㗎？係啊。咁個 van 仔做乜嘢㗎？出邊個 van 仔？嗰個係。嗰個係做俾人打爆玻璃，嗰個打爆玻璃啊！哦，係啊，係啊，應該係啊，佢唔係啊，個醉酒佬打吸爆咗個 van 仔嘅玻璃，跟住個司機落車追佢，跟住之後衝咗出馬路，跟住就係咁啦。佢成隻眼都冇啦。係啊，就應該係相對應該就係涉事嘅車輛啊。應該就係呢一架啦。都係珠爆玻璃嘅。唔係呢架車撞低啊？應該就係呢一架啦。咁而家就應該做呢個酒精測試啊。陳生，咁又睇下佢有冇有損毀喎，凹撚咗喎，喂，佢玻璃爆撚咗點啊？裂撚咗嗰個車窗直情，玻璃爛咗啦。係啊，咁呢塊玻璃就明顯嘅損毀啊！我有冇就咁開盞燈啊？咁其實見到咧個玻璃係有明顯嘅損毀㗎，係即係凹咗啦，同埋碎咗啊，明顯係粉碎㗎。大家見到呢個位係粉碎咗㗎，睇住，見唔見到？有冇阻住你？使唔使俾翻個位你？我褪出去先，唔使，大家都係做嘢嘅。咁其實咧車頭都有即係一啲損毀㗎，原因造成㗎。咁呢架就應該係撞人嘅涉事車輛啊。咁呢隻中間嗰層貨物啦，裝貨物同埋裝第二層坐人嘅位置嘅擋風玻璃係完全粉碎式咁碎裂㗎，喺左手邊嘅位置啊，即係我哋而家右手邊啊，喺車身望向個方向就左手邊啊，路㗎啦，都有啲危險㗎，是㗎，即係而家我哋左邊嘅玻璃係冇事嘅，即係呢一邊係冇事嘅，呢一邊就粉碎㗎。 就係咁簡單。咁撚碎咗喎，成塊玻璃屌個老味！喂，快啲啊！屌你行車啊！嗰邊啊！屌你過嚟啊！呢度唔知關唔關事啊，但係佢呢度成塊玻璃碎撚咗喎，高高 van logo 嗰個位喎，碎撚咗喎，大佬，好明顯喎。邊度碎咗？呢度咯，咁撚大個窿。但係你可唔可以有單口插呢個位啊？好，嗱就呢個位啦，就呢個位啦。有。睇下先啦。係呢個位啊，大家見到啊，好明顯啊，係成塊玻璃係粉碎式咁碎開咗啊，即係裂晒㗎啦已經，咁就係啦。咁後邊嘅的士相信係唔該晒，唔該晒。裂撚咗喎，係粉碎式咁裂撚咗喎。呢個的士係咩？目擊證人。
係翻嚟嘅，本身走咗，特登翻嚟嘅，佢車 cam 影到。
哦，咁好啊！
咁我頭先問過阿司機哥哥咧，都話呢位啊，司機哥哥咧就係
的士嗰個。
唔係啊，呢個係 van 仔。咁啊，司機哥哥都話咧，其實係佢無啦啦衝出嚟，然後就係咯，就撞到佢咁樣。
佢就喺呢個位停車嘅。就係呢個位係。
唔知。
係啦，咁呢個就係問題啦。即係如果佢係自動停車喺度，咁我就覺得冇所謂嘅。但係如果係呢個位置俾人截停咧，咁就係另一個問題啦。即係你撞唔係啊？影埋嗰邊小巴。咁其實最大 concern 就係主動停低架車啊，定係佢係即係俾人截停架車咯？
佢嗰次係咁樣撞到咁樣啊！
我見到啊，塊玻璃碎撚咗啊，成塊。
係啊，
佢個塊面係。
等陣先，有市民影到傷勢喎，成塊面係咁撚樣喎，師兄，好撚傷喎，係界開咗，係成塊面界開咗喎，成塊左邊面眼球嗰個位。
係咁樣嘅。
唔該晒你啊！
打格仔啊，大佬！
唔知啊，
打格仔。
等先，唔好出啦，唔好出啦，唔好出人哋。唔該晒。我哋冇人攞人哋啲水出落水唔出咁。
到佢係因為爭執嘅時候咧，自己衝咗出馬路。
我嚟㗎應該。飲醉酒㗎喎。係啊。
佢話俾人之後起身，咪嗰度俾人車完之後。
有小巴有 van 仔咧喂。
咩仔咪呢㗎？邊啊？
好似嗰隻冇嘢嚟㗎。
哇，其實好大喎，我發現。我哋旅遊好衰嘛。
等陣先，我唔想俾人車。紅燈係唔過得馬路嘅，大家記住啊，知唔知啊？如果唔係有悲劇發生㗎啦。你講下車神。我車前邊。我知。我哋而家就去睇下，即係應該係俾個事睇住啊嘅個涉事人士應該係拍爆咗個。咁成件事嘅事，即係個傷者啦，就敲個van 仔，咁就司機落車追佢啦。咁喺即係個司機捉咧，佢就揈開咗個司機，咁就再衝出馬路。咁而咁啱咧係即係紅燈嚟嘅，咁佢就衝咗出馬路啦。咁就有車又駛至啊，咁就將佢撞到啊。咁佢就極力爬翻起身咧，咁就行
多幾步之後，喺頭先嗰個位置度趴咗喺度。
係啊，咁就再行多幾步，就喺行人路呢個位置就瞓低咗。咁就即刻有 First A 啦，同埋一啲到場位去進行急救㗎啦。咁其實即係我都覺得。
之後個司機又追究佢，爛啊！我聽過就爛啊塊面。我側面睇佢呢度成嚿面突咗出嚟啊！我都見到突啊！
你照佢唔撚到咩？你睇你追撚住佢啊！
有啊！
你照唔撚到啊？
有啊！
你有冇影到相啊？
成
撞到有冇影到啊？
我睇你追好快行，
最先係我哋走埋去嘅。有錄喎。最先係我哋走埋去㗎，嗬。
佢哋記者嚟嘅。
我都係啊。知道啊，最先係你。
本身記者啊，係本身記者。本身記者啊，係本身記者。
本身記者。
係本身。
係啦，咁咪得啦，最好啦。
最先我哋走埋去㗎，你問下佢哋走埋去報警㗎。你報警㗎，最先。都話最先我哋走埋去。
同你玩下啫，唔好計較，唔好計較。我行過去影。我成我諗住佢嗰個相。點攞翻啊？
你係咪黐線㗎？咁樣過馬路嘅，我都唔想。
小心啲啊！
阿輝啊！
咁我
依家我喺度大陸㗎，攞咗車啊！
前邊咯。
高啲同。
就
爛到咁樣。
OK， 我俾你睇多一次個樣先。
得啦，盡量唔好影到去傷者。
唔好啊，費事啊。
個傷者好慘咯，俾人撞，唉。
你可唔可以借俾我攞晒啲相
佢係擦傷咗塊面啊，所以爆晒光啊！喂 ，hello， 咁真係暫時都唔得閒打名住啊，咁影埋啲度就算啦。
拍你玻璃嘅。
佢嗌我開門俾佢啦，梗係。
哦，即係你閂咗門嘅。
好啊，緊隊。
我排緊隊，未輪到你嘅。
咁啊，前面嗰個開門，佢又唔衝上去，係咁拍我呢個，跟住俾佢搞掂咗。
係咪飲咗酒㗎？
係啊，應該係啊，俾佢企落嘅。
咁啊，揸住啲咩拋嚟車？
冇嘅，就咁樣嘅手拍剝爛咗玻璃啊。係啊，開頭拍嘅，跟住唔理佢，跟住佢可能即係谷氣咁啊，一齊打落嚟咯。
點稱呼啊，先生你？
姓邵。
姓邵嘅。係。啊，喬斯邊個邵？邵逸夫嘅邵。
好。唔該晒。好驚！想問你咪有嘗試追過佢㗎？
係啊。
好，就去到嗰個燈口，佢就衝咗出馬路。
係啊。
好，唔該晒。咁咧成件事咧就即係個司機就講翻清楚少少啦，再咁就係即係前邊就好似的士咁啦，就排緊隊嘅。咁其實咁就前面架車未開出咧，咁就理論上咧就要排隊嘅，即係上咗前面嗰架先坐滿咗，就先會開下一架。咁咧但係啊，相關嘅人士啊就即係不斷拍打玻璃啦，咁最後可能就谷鬼氣一拳就打爆咗玻璃啊！個司機就落車追佢啦，追到去應該係銀行中心嘅亞皆老街同埋喺車頭前面咪亞皆老街同彌敦道十字路口啊！嗰度係叫咩啊？亞皆老街咩？屌你！呢度唔係彌敦道咩？
你個車道個位點位啊？
呢個
亞皆老街彌敦道咯。
係咯，亞皆老街同追至去到亞皆老街同彌敦道嘅十字路，嗰名人男子啊就衝咗出馬路啊，咁就俾架車撞到啊！咁就涉事嘅車輛咧就唔知係自己停啦，定係俾人截停啦，我就唔清楚呢方面，就冇證人提供到任何呢個啊。咁咧最後就即係個傷者啦，咁就俾架車撞到瞓低咗一陣啦，咁就再爬翻起身，爬咗上行台之後就攤咗啲，就有義務嘅急救人員啦，同埋一啲嘅警員啦，就為傷者協助急救嘅，咁就即係嘗試去即係減輕佢嘅痛楚啊，同埋盡量為佢進行急救先啊。因為佢嘅傷勢都好嚴重啊，見到佢啱張相又見到啦，其實係左邊嘅面壁，即係由眼球對落嗰個位置係成度係劏開咗㗎，咁就係咁流血㗎。係啊。哦，唔係喎。啱傷者嘅位置係喺附近㗎啦。咁我就唔記得咗，啱想先死啦。啱就應該喺呢邊直行，即係應該係唔係呢度嘅再前。搞咁奇怪？等陣先，我問下，即係實際上嘅位置先。因為我哋嘅古仔咧， 我就最後就好似加連敦道交界就話要盡力急救㗎，好似係西洋菜南街㗎，同亞皆老街交界㗎。咁我就翻去問翻啲行家，即係問下兔仔嗰啲啊。因為我記得啱嗰個位咧，急救嗰位唔係惠豐中心㗎，係惠豐中心轉彎㗎，應該係西洋菜南街同亞皆老街十字路口交界，就即係上翻行人路啊。咁就喺惠豐中心附近一帶咧，咁就即係總之就沿住呢個亞皆咁就俾架車撞到，咁咪就去翻西洋菜南街同惠豐中心一帶，咁就係即係上咁就癱瘓咗喺度，咁就有即係急救員啦同埋警察就上前為佢協助㗎，就即係嘗試係為傷者急救啊，但係就即係都咁傷者都提供咗一個電話號碼啦，相信係佢女朋友啊，咁就能成功致電嘅，即係 call 唔到佢㗎。咁咧最後就即係而家就去咗醫院啦。佢就講係啦，我唔記得咗喺邊，係咪西洋菜南街同亞皆老街交界？
我唔識嗰啲路啊，唔知就係嗰度咯。
我行翻過條先啊。
講完啦，就係嗰度咯。咁頭先我哋再問個司機咧，咁當時司機就其實咧喺架車度打緊機嘅，咁佢又排緊隊咯，係啦。咁當時打緊機咁就因為排隊咁未到佢咧，咁佢就唔會開門噶嘛，點樣拍都唔會開門，就係咁樣啦。咁之後就佢拍爛咗玻璃之後咧，咁啊就問咗阿司機，阿司機就話即係當該名傷者有冇可能跑啊定係點樣啦？咁
應該有嘅，佢司機話追到去嗰個路口，叫佢衝出馬路。
咁佢就話阿司機就話咧嗰位先生咧就係半跑嘅狀態，但係都撇下㗎啦。
即係飲醉酒嘅款咧，之後跟住就由即係沿住彌敦道就去咗亞皆老街交界，就俾架車撞到啊！
口係嗰個得埋。
好搖喎，好撚驚喎，會唔會跌落嚟啊？
會唔會又揾翻另外一邊啲先？
佢好搖啊！呢塊嘢，見唔見到呢塊嘢喺度搖啊？唔係我搖，係佢搖緊啊 ！OK。咁之後冇話佢一拳打爆玻璃，唔係一拳打爆玻璃啊！話佢拍玻璃，咁越拍越大力咁樣咯，咁之後就碎咗。唔係一拳，應該拍爆咗啫係嘛？我唔知啊，問翻上去。
就一拳打爆佢啊！
即係係咯，即係唔將人打。大家飲少啲酒啦。
唔係飲酒唔係問題，你要控制到你自己飲到邊個位停咯。即係你飲醉酒之後，可能個後果好嚴重㗎。
大家都唔好再鬧，喂！你俾人鬧喎。
邊個？
唔知啊，係咪啲人唔知你講乜嘢？
我冇鬧過唔係啦。我
個司機冇不顧而去咪喺度啊？
唔係啊，我唔知佢係即係如果佢自己停冇理由停你咁遠啦。
我唔知啊，再問下咯就。冇
人知啊。現場一人就話自己走咗。咁問咗阿伯就話直走啦，問咗仲有都走咗架車。
南亞記者睇到成個過程，其實我見到好多人睇到成個過程嘅，係啦。米奇講司機冇講咩司機冇講，
打埋玻璃，啱有㗎，有6棟喎應該。大家睇翻 payback 啊！
阿司機，你睇阿司機幾有型，
個司機都無奈。
係啊，阿司機幾有型。米奇讚黑我，你唔使再讚啲差佬啊！其實你鬧佢係鬧咩先？
鬧咩啊？
米奇成日作古仔，隻眼就係甩出嚟。
唔係啱張相真係。
佢係因為我頭先聽佢講就話應該係 van 仔嗰塊玻璃就插咗落去。
其實個傷勢都幾恐怖㗎，成塊左邊面都劏開咗啊！你見到？
佢冇見撞到都好亂下。唔好意思啊，係啦，因為啲人都唔知講乜
嚇。
佢話唔好撞紅燈，咩？好似個傷者咁，係米奇叫黑警做兄弟。
幾時有啊？
乜嘢啊？講乜嘢啊？
因為我都唔明，因為我都唔明嘅話死啦！
睇下先。米奇真係收聲啦，咁你都收聲啦。
唔係嘅，咁我唔係將每一單即係埋一單咯。咁話平時啲黑警係唔會俾記者入去，唔係俾急救員入去嗰啲咩㗎嘛，封咗線㗎嘛。
佢話黑警做得好，哎呀，黐撚線嘅都係咪先？好咯，好撚煩啊，我覺得。唔係拍下玻璃追兩隻出去嘅啫。 唔好喺度煽動咯，傷者現場時間其實我都唔知佢講咩，不過是但啦，係咯。總之我再打翻上去啦，我都組織下再打翻上去。而家仲有冇事啊？係啊，咁就大家都好亂，麗琪都好努力啊。可能突然間太多資料，咁就亂咯，係咯。咁我就再打翻出嚟啦。嗱，我唔知咪係講嗰啲咩，但係係咯，中意睇下睇，唔中意睇咪唔好睇咯，就係咁樣咯。指導下慧琪，咁呢啲經驗嘅嘢就唔累積翻嚟嘅，咁可能係咯，咁突然間睇到啲咁少亂，係咯，咁。始終慧琪仲細，如果你唔中意睇咪唔好睇咯，係咪先？但佢走甩咗啊！佢本身係記者，佢係識急救嘅記者咯。跟住之後佢話架車不顧有錯要認，唔好死撐。我唔覺得佢有錯喎。邊個？係啊，咁咪檢查個司機咯。即係如果佢係俾人撞到，即係不顧。因為其實米奇都可能有少少混亂，因為突然間太多資料。湧埋嚟，係啦。咁如果你唔中意睇咪唔好睇咯。不過你唔中意睇就唔好睇咯，係咪先？就冇收錢啫。係咯。因為其實每個人講嘅都唔同版本啊。係因為都比較多版本啦。First A 有 First A 嘅一個版本啦，跟住司機有司機一個版本啦。咁一個士多嗰條有士多條嘅版本啦。咁已經有3個版本出現啦。跟住仲有啲現場人士，即係半目擊證人咁樣，又有第二啲版本喎。First 嘅版本係啱。因為個個都係咯，聽到米奇講有啲版本係咯，咁可能有少少混亂啫啲資料。係啊，所以咪話咯，即係你幾個目擊者。我聽得明，多謝你，多謝你，多謝你。因為我都頭先都周圍索緊料啊，咁我都大概知道係啦，大概知道有啲咩事嘅，係啦。咁我陣翻到去再鬥翻隻古仔出嚟啦，係啦。咁佢大概知其實可以拍嚟㗎，可以拍嚟係啊，多謝你哋，多謝你哋，多謝你哋。因為有啲細節位係可能有啲唔係咁清楚，就咁樣咯。係啦，咁聽得明就非常好啦。都係咁啦。就係有人打爆玻璃，又嚇咗幾次爆個玻璃車，跟住之後走出咗馬路俾架車撞低咗，跟住自行爬翻上行路，俾人急救咯。個古仔咪就係咁咯。係咯，類似啊，都係咁上下。我哋幾條嘅目擊者都係咁講。係啊，即係幾個嘅目擊者都係咁嘅版本，但係可能有啲細節嘅嘢，可能有少少唔同咯。係啊，咁你話邊個先係真咧？咁其實冇乜所謂啊。咁個故事咯，咁細節嗰啲就。即係好難，好啲人都同你講係邊個位打邊個位。因為始終唔係我哋親眼望到咧，係咯，你好明啊！多謝你哋，多謝你哋，多謝你哋，多謝你哋，多謝你哋。水落石出，其實我問咗好多個人啦，已經。咁佢哋嘅版本係有少少唔同嘅，每個人都。係啦。係啊，咁啲少少唔同嗰啲我就唔打出嚟啦，即係大概。大概就係咁啦。打出嚟咪算咯。即係盡量俾大家。咁但係即係有幾個版本，咁大家聽邊個版本就自己諗咯。咁個司機有司機咩啊？繼續。咁即係個司機就話嗰條友係有人扶佢起身嘅，但係目擊嘅急救員就話嗰條友係自己跑起身嘅。咁其實我都唔知佢係自己翻去讀下書就明。咁我以為睇 CCTV， 係啊，啱啊，睇 CCTV 啊，啱啊，係啊。把聲同我樣唔同，呢個係個個都咁講嘅。邊個？講得太話你講得太快，你講得慢少少咧，就聽落去咧好似完整啲，係咪啊？哦，即係我覺得太快，導致佢哋覺得好亂。係啊，你要講慢啲，真係要 你好咁樣啲，
真係盡量㗎咋，即係
盡量啦，因為米奇慣咗啊。
有時可能同一時間收到太多嘅資訊，或者可能你見到有時可能現場打成
每個字都咬正啲先，因為你咧好似咧一個字未讀就已經讀緊第二個字咁樣，有咩？係咪啊？可啱唔啱啊？你覺唔覺啊？我覺得係咯。喺呢個台度，你問下啲觀眾係唔係？
我知我講嘢係比較
好多都好靚女嘅 First A 嘅其實，
但係即係不論你哋即係我覺得，在我嘅立場嚟睇啊，咁其實佢即係班黑警係真係可以大安旨意唔理噶嘛，小埋你明我意思啊？
我唔評論呢啲嘅，
你明唔明？因為冇人要去評論啦。
我唔明咯，我唔明咯，屌我唔撚明咯。嗱係咪啊？啱啊！佢講得啱啊！聽唔聽到啊？嗰嘢即係叫你讀完一個字再讀一個字啊！你未讀完一個字，你讀咗2/3個字，然後讀第二個字啦，好撚煩啊！真係
我唔知喎。
米奇平時同兔仔講嘢都好快，係啊，但係有面對面嘅話就會聽到咯。
但係有 delay 啊。即係我睇你個唔係啊，唔關呢事咯，唔關呢事咯，唔關 delay 事啫，係咯。其實我講英文可能會好少少。好似 rap 緊嚇，即係講英文啊，真係㗎，咁勁嘅咩？你英文？My English 咧 is not good 啊，so 咧so say English 咧 is very 呢個叫slowly 啊 ，you know？ 反會出現現象啦，
米奇跳音。急口令啊！你急口令啊！
其實都真係有啲啊！但係我想問咧，其實我哋啱喺邊度位急救㗎？我應該去翻急救嗰個位啦，所謂。
嗰度前面咯。
啊，好似係啊。
跑成日係啊。變翻米奇把聲嚟聽下，俾你啊！我諗一諗啫，唔該點樣。
Hello，大家好，歡迎嚟到蛋蛋俱樂部，我係米奇。呢度仲有兔仔，有人急救，有人喪傷，有人俾車撞啊！咁咧，啱啱就有1名嘅警員同埋3名嘅急救員為佢提供急救，亦都有3至4名嘅急救員從旁協助啊！咁呢名嘅傷者傷勢極為恐怖。如果大家有興趣，請指標，我哋唔會將此相片上載到我哋嘅 channel。多謝合作，拜拜。
拜拜啦！
唔係我講完啫嘛。
講完。
我而家急緊變兔仔啦，要收台。
哇，咁嘅，佢射翻個波俾我。咁我其實都知自己講嘢係比較快嘅，咁大家將就下啦嚇。唔係，其實我唔係緊張，自己都知嘅呢個問題其實，但係因為咧已經習慣咗，即係由細到大講嘢都係咁快嘅關係咧，咁就好習慣，好自然。咁我而家就翻去案發嘅，唔係第一現場應該，咁就應該係我唔知係佢俾人扶定點啦，總之就覺得呢個位攤低咗，咁就有急救員嚟幫佢。我已經唔 care 佢係點樣嚟到呢個位置啊！總之係喺亞皆老街同彌敦道交界咧，就俾架車撞到啊！咁我就唔都 fucking care why he will 呢個 stay in here and sleep in the floor, you know? I get that. But the main point is the first aid in here 同佢做急救 ，you know？ 打咩啊？打咩啊？咁其實現場都遺留咗大片嘅血跡啊，就未人清理㗎。大家見到啊，係有好多血跡嘅紙巾啊，亦都係有啲嘔吐物啊。應該瞓咗啦，唔清楚啊，唔清楚彈過喺邊啊。咁其實咧，現場咧就即係見到啦，有大量嘅生理鹽水啦。一啲急救嘅用品啦，同埋一啲染血嘅紙巾啊。咁相信生理鹽水咧就係幫佢清洗傷口㗎。咁而一啲即係手套啊、嘔吐物嗰啲咧就係傷嘅用品啊。咁見到咧現場係都有大片嘅血跡啊。大家見到啊，係有血跡喺度㗎。咁就即係傷勢真係嚴重嘅都。我哋睇翻有行家影到相咧，其實就即係佢劏開咗咁滯啊。即係你冇諗住係一刀兩斷嗰啲劏開啦，有得揈下揈下嗰啲啦，就唔係嗰隻嘅。咁就係即係個劏開嘅情況係佢左邊面由眼角對落，即係隻眼低少少個位置啦，突然之間眼度啦，就已經係直接一條直線咁落咗嚟。咁就應該係又俾玻璃界傷咗嘅位置啊。 咁咧就隔咗成條街先見到個貨 van 見到啊！呢個成條街即係由西洋菜南街經過彌敦道、亞皆老街交界，再去到下一個街口架貨 van 先停低咗㗎。咁我相信係應該係俾人截停㗎，就唔係佢自願停低㗎。因為如果你撞到，理論上第一個時間反應就係我嘅即係理論上合理嘅反應就係落車睇下傷者啦。咁如果你要花咁長嘅時間、咁遠嘅距離先嚟到呢一個俾人截停嘅機會係大好多啊！咁而亦都有另一名的士司機啦，就好心啊，就因為佢車 cam 拍到全程嘅即係個目擊啊，佢個目擊證人啦，咁就兜翻轉頭就協助警方調查㗎，即係交翻啲車 cam 出嚟啊，咁就即係係啦。咁其實個貨 van 司機咧就冇同我哋交代啊，我咧就話係嗰條友衝咗出嚟啦，就俾架車撞到就係咁啦。當然啦，其實即係都係嗰句啦，佢成個呢個位啦，Gogo Van 呢個 logo 嘅玻璃粉碎式咁碎裂㗎。咁其實啱就即係有記者就識急救嘅，咁就都即刻就放低一部機嘅，就即係以人命為先啊，就唔好以拍攝為先啊。咁有時仲要過所有新聞㗎。咁同啊，咁其實大家見到咧，好多香港嘅地方都落咗呢啲螺絲啊。咁就係即係避免人啲一次就將啲鐵馬堵路啊。咁呢個工程又唔知要耗資幾多公帑啦。咁咧就咁即係補磚啊、咩油啊、補漆啊諸如此類都咁，政府其實唔少錢嘅。咁警方咧而家就去翻小巴司機嗰邊進行調查。咁或者一啲即係，因為其實一架車咧係車頭同車尾都有兩個 cam 嘅，一個車尾一個，咁就兩個 cam 㗎。咁理論上係應該咁樣㗎。咁即係就可能係翻轉頭啊，咁就即係去翻嗰度調查。咁啱啱就見到現場留咗一大片嘅血跡啦，同埋一大堆嘅急救用品啦。咁其實佢架 Gogo Van 咧，即係喺呢個十字路口係冇停過車嘅應該。咁亞皆老街過咗嚟到十字路口咧，再喺一個街口啊先停車㗎。咁應該就係俾人截。咁其實如果係咁嘅行為咧，係真係好不負責任嘅。因為其實你撞到人之後，你睇個傷者啦，亦都冇去慰問個傷者睇咩情況，有咩幫到手啦。而你係直接就選擇咗離開啊！咁作為一個駕駛者，其實呢樣嘢係真係好唔了得嘅一個道德行為啊！咁但係現場咧就未有人想清理現場嘅，包括啲急救員都走晒㗎。咁見到咧，即係啲急救用品都係散落一地啦。咁就未有人去清理現場㗎。咁呢個位咧就係傷者最後嚟到嘅位置啦。咁有人話佢俾人抬過嚟啦，有人話佢跑過嚟，我話 don't fucking care that 啦，都係嗰句。咁I just know this is the final stage in here, you know。咁係咁多先啦，今日。如果我睇下兔仔有冇嘢仲講先，如果冇咧，我哋就應該會喺 Facebook 度，即係盡量打翻一個我哋認為係比較準確嘅版本㗎啦。因為其實現場目擊者有3至4名人士咧，咁就有3至4個版本㗎。咁我哋就盡量綜合翻個版本出嚟，就即係俾翻故仔大家啦。咁而傷者嘅圖片咧，我哋係唔會出街嘅，咁啊真係太好啦。而左右兩邊嘅膊頭都有明顯嘅傷勢㗎，即係都有滲血啊，紮住繃帶滲血嘅情況出現啦。咁即係最後即係消防嘅急救員啦，就為佢剪開咗兩隻腳啊嘅褲啊。咁我真係唔記得咗呢個急救有咩用啦。其他我都大約知嘅，即係嗰時候打側個身咧，就係唔想去啲嘔吐物倒流翻落去個血色啦，或者係即係臨走之前就冚翻張氈咁，就費事佢即係嗰個叫過，即係保暖啊，幫佢簡單嚟講就。即係驚佢可能失血過多發爛咧，咁就冚翻張氈幫佢保暖啦。兔仔事啫，你 inbox 我哋蛋蛋俱樂部睇下兔仔如果你有去對兔仔 inbox 我哋蛋蛋俱樂部㗎。咁而家警就協助調查，係多謝支持啊！ 咁今日就係我同阿兔仔嘅聯合喺呢度㗎，咁都比較少可㗎。平時突發都係得1、2個，即係都係是但一個開。咁就2名人士啊。咁而家警員咧就去到現場就係即係我現場第一落去，我屌你老味啊！落狗屎喎！喺現場就即係同呢個司機就落佢口供啦。咁誒相信佢都係無辜㗎，即係佢都係因為冇開門就俾人拍車門打爛咗個車，咁就其實都唔係好關佢事成件事。即係罪行不論，我唔評論邊個啱邊個錯啦，咁我就覺得係一個不幸嚟嘅。咁即係係啦，咁我無論係如果條友飲醉酒打車窗在先啦，定還是係個司機撞到人之後不顧而去在後啊，我都唔係好介意，因為其實我相信冇人想有呢啲意外發生㗎。即係親歷其境嘅一個嘅時候，你更加唔會想呢件事發生啊。係咯，即係如果大家想象下嗰個係你身邊嘅人，可能你有伴侶，可能你嘅仔女，可能你朋友或者親戚，咁其實喺你知道呢個消息嘅時候，可能你都會覺得好震撼、好震驚。咁我啱睇到個傷勢嘅時候，我都自己都話咗聲出嚟，即係都覺得點解撞車我有咁重嘅傷勢咧？塊面度咧仲要。咁我之後就諗翻起嗰個玻璃窗，我就大概 get 到啦。我哋應該3個都冇遮啊！而家我車神仲強嘅嘛，咁其實我哋3個都冇遮啊！見到有人係冒住大雨上咗的士離開嘅，因為太大雨啊真係。唔使遮啊，唔使遮啊，等細雨啲自己走啦。因為我同兔仔自己搭巴士或者搭小巴走嘅啫，即係總之有車走㗎啦，我哋唔使理我哋住㗎啦。咁其實真係好撚大雨啊！大家見到。即係我相信大家都唔期望有任何即係呢啲乜意外發生咯。當然我哋成日都做唔少交通意外突發啦，包括上次喺黃大仙啦就3車連環，4至5車連環相撞啦，亦都有試過喺元朗就有警車啊撞到一架紅色嘅貨 van 啊！哇！屌你撇撚住埋啦，撇住就入嚟喎！屌你避緊雨喎呢度。哇！你個幾喺度就點解而家點解撇我就入嚟啊？過去啊！冇計啊！前面有的士，但係你點解唔俾你上車入就係？我個書包喺嗰度㗎。你個書包喺嗰度啊？你過有車啊？一打車都冇啊！我真係唔打車㗎。唉，哥你我都冇，你做自己啊！你又知咩料啦？啊，佢咪收幾走啊？邊度走啊？你咧？或者你試睇下嗰度慢過嚟遮一遮你過去拎嘢咯。聖光輝，你舉高啲手啦，點？咁即係繼續啱講話啦。咁就係即係今日嘅交通意外，其實我相信冇人想即係有呢個情況出現啊。即係畢竟都係一個大佢悲劇啦。不論佢最後會唔會有事都好。係啦，咁我就覺得都係一個悲劇嚟㗎。咁即係對於成件事嚟講啊，咁即係可能佢係飲醉酒在先啦，或者係forever 咩都好啦。咁其實我就即係建議係大家即係一來唔好咁多走啦，二來就真係睇清楚路面交通情況先過馬路咯。因為其實即係有時即係馬路如虎口啦，都係嗰句啊。咁係啊，因為其實即係你話我講嘢快呢啲，我可以盡量吞到嘅。咁但係你話我其他可能即係啱就話我讚黑警啊，咁其實我就唔係稱讚佢哋，我只係即係覺得啊，原來佢哋都做到一啲我哋覺得佢哋做到，即係佢哋係做到嘅。但係平時可能係因為某啲原因導致佢哋冇咗。我意思啊，即係我唔係話佢哋做得特別好啊，即係平時係負10分，咁啊可能係0分啫，只係明唔明我意思啊？其實都唔係即係唔係特別好咯。只係做到即係啲正常基本佢哋應該要做嘅嘢咯。咁一個警隊理論上係一個人民公僕啦，即係用公帑出糧俾佢哋嘅錢啦，係去出糧嘅。我點解嚟揾你啊？屌玩鳩我啊！咁即係佢今日就民公僕嘅角色㗎。 但係就唔係特別出色，只係0分啫，水平咯。即係最 basic 佢哋要做嘅做晒咁簡單咯。即係譬如一啲人士想一個集會，佢哋係開路啦，幫手控制現場啦。一啲即係啱咁樣有交通意外，佢哋會出手相助啦。嘅要求嚟嘅真係，即係我覺得如果一個警務人員係做唔到呢樣嘢，其實佢稱職咗一個警務人員咯。我冇啊，我唔會去健興㗎啦，放心啊大家。我唔使去買羽毛球拍㗎啦，我而家過咗去揾兔仔先。你收啦，你繼續傾偈啊？吹緊水啊！我繼續吹水啊！米奇又俾人玩，佢哋又喺度又叫我喺度搞我米奇啊！呢個咩米奇？記者嚟㗎。米奇好誠實報導，係啊，只不過講嘢快咗少少啫。點解放唔到金比蛋？叫我問翻蛋，真係咩啊？可以，我先。我走。米奇，我先講緊咩啊？唔撚記我先，頭先啱同米奇講嘢，等我睇多次先。放唔到蛋黐緊線，放唔到金比亞蛋哥你有 PM 我哋啊？我 send 翻佢嗰個資料俾你，阿米奇走撚咗啦。阿米奇而家要去健興啊！我 send 翻嗰啲課金資料俾你啊！兔仔係米奇女朋友，米奇係咪兔仔女朋友？調翻轉，米奇係咪兔仔女朋友？唔係。冇咗好多，係啊！健興有到啊，啱過雲雨，係而家細雨咗啊！米奇好乖，唔講大話，都話米奇小朋友咧，你唔好鳩佢啦，屌你啊！係啦，以上3樓唔使啊，放唔到蛋。聽日要翻工，唔好淋病，唔會啦，淋病唔啱我啊！大家窗口對外好對翻外有好多毛啊，係啊，好多毛啊，唔知做乜撚嘢，成日都有毛嘅，點解咧嚇？啲毛都拔唔撚晒。
So on Monday, we'll be making our announcement as to how we go forward in this particular aspect of it. But it is about other injustices too. It's about health disparities. It's about environment. It's about economic injustice. It's about educational injustice. So there's a time where we can go forward in a very drastic way, not incrementally, but in an important to redress those problems.
So at this time, systemic racism in American policing, you don't think that is?
Well, let me leave the presentation to it up to the caucus. We certainly do see that this is more than one or two people acting. There's a record, and that's what I think this is so important out, because as important as George Floyd's life is, and our hearts are broken that his life was taken, it's about a pattern of behavior. We'll see how the Black Caucus will want to present this. I'll tell you this, speaking of systemic, I had the privilege, and some of you know this, to go with the Black Caucus to Ghana last summer. It was the 400th anniversary of the first slaves coming across the ocean. I don't say to America, because America didn't even exist then. It wasn't the United States, just coming across the ocean. These people were kidnapped or purchased beneath the dignity of a human being. You wouldn't even. It was horrible, these dungeons. And we spent time in the dungeon. You could just imagine how awful it was with the number of. And if you survived that, because people died there, If you survive that, you're put on a death ship to cross the ocean, to leave the door of no return. That's what it said behind you, the door of no return. Leave your family, which you never probably see again, cross the ocean on a death ship. And if you survive that, you were sold into slavery. For a couple hundred years, your family. You're some sturdy stock, I would say, a blessing to America, but nonetheless of Jim Crow and other things. I wish you could all go to Selma and to Birmingham and to Montgomery and see the history there, as we all were just most recently in March. And in one of the things in Brian Stevenson's, one of his museums, he has two, the Lynching Museum and other museum. In one of them, this is something that I can never get out of my mind. They're little children speaking, and they're little children holding hands. Mama, has anyone seen our mother? Separated from their children. Separated from their children. The parents separated from their children. So you want to talk systemic, we're talking a long way back and a lot of injustice. And sad to see when those children are separated from their parents in Mexico, think that that was an okay idea. They just had to listen to the voices of the children. So there's a lot that we have to redress in how we go forward. But maybe the sacrifice of George Floyd's life, sadly, is something a better place in how we address all of this. Yes, sir. You had a question?
Have you talked to any of your chairmen, whether it be Adam Smith or the Oversight Committee, about potentially calling General Mattis or any of the other generals who have spoken out recently?
Chairman Smith is chairman, for those of you, he's the chairman of the Armed Services Committee. He has put out a statement earlier this week about calling in the current Secretary of Defense, Esper, and calling in the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley. He said that. Today, when he was asked about, after Mattis, my understanding the statement was, first we're going to start with the current people in place, and then we'll see where we go from there. But everyone is very proud of the patriotism, the courage of General Mattis, Secretary Mattis. I guess general must be a big title. Almost anybody can be a secretary, but a general, that's something else. So I don't know if that will follow, but he's going to follow up on his announcement earlier in the week, yeah. As you know, all the committees have asked for things. The chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, Benny Thompson, has asked, it's like a 16-page letter of things, a long letter talking about the Secret Service. Did I mention the Secret Service? An on agency of government doing law enforcement in the Capitol, about the role of the Secret Service in all of this. So different chairs have had different pieces of this, but to your question about Mattis, that's the most current information that I have. Yes, sir.
There's been a number of protesters with defund police signs, and in Los Angeles, the city is considering diverting $150 million from police to various other programs. I'm not entirely sure what they are. What do you think of that, the policy of that, and that movement, which seems to be gaining steam in some of these protests?
Well, I did hear of Los Angeles. That's about almost 1/10 of the budget. It's about $1.3-ish billion, and so that'd be 1/10 of that. Again, I revert Congressional Black Caucus as to how they want to prioritize. It's a question of curating some of these overlapping, and then deciding in how many different bills will they appeal. Some of them may have some bipartisan support right away, and others may need some more work in that regard. So we shall see. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez has announced support for Chairman Eliot Engel. What does it mean that she may be standing up against some of the incumbents in your own party?
Well, all I know what it means is that I firmly support Eliot Engel for Congress, and I support Alexandria Hurst for Congress as well. I think the people of New York are very blessed to have them both in the Congress. Chairman Engel is the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee. He also has the unique privilege, which is unique, and it wouldn't happen again. It just happened in terms of his terms here, that he is also not only the chairman of Foreign Affairs, he is a senior member of the Energy and Commerce Committee. That wouldn't happen again. That's a lower, but he is in that position. So he does a great job for New York, and I wish him well in his election, as I wish her well in her election. Yes, ma'am.
Last question.
Madam Speaker, regarding the scene of soldiers on the Lincoln Memorial.
Yes.
I was there yesterday. Were you even in this was going to happen?
No. And I would like to know who they are. Are they military? Are they?
D.C. National Guard. I was told that some were D.C. National Guard.
Well, that would be hard because, and that's part of the complication. One of the things I'm going to ask the chairman of the Armed Services Committee to do is to enable Washington to be able to call up the D.C. National Guard. And that's why we're asking, but what authority is the president sending people from these other states into D.C.? Who do they report to? Do they report to their governor's command here? But I think what they did on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial was so stunning. That's why the word militarization is in my letter. It was scary. Now, my daughter, Alexandra, who is a journalist, many years in the news, I say she crossed over to the other side. Did they say did that mean she became a Republican? I said, no, she crossed over to the other side. She was in Lafayette Square on Monday night. And she called me after a certain period of time, and she said, Mom, you can't even believe here. There was no trouble. It was all peaceful. And then all of a sudden, these people came in and were pushing people and hitting them with batons. And she thought she had tear gas in her eyes because she couldn't, she was incapacitated for a while, and she called me after. She didn't have tear gas, but they had these pellets that exploded and had the impact of tear gas. Whether that qualifies or not, I don't know. It just enables them to have this. They had the impact of tear gas, and they were roughing up people for no reason. Crossed a threshold with that, and then to make room for whatever was to follow. So I think that they made a couple of mistakes, 24-hour period. In uniform, I don't think it was appropriate to have them on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. I don't think it was appropriate for people to rough people up in Lafayette Square who were demonstrating peacefully so that the president could come through and do his staged event at St. John's, which was magnificently addressed by the Episcopal Bishop of Washington, of this area, as being inappropriate. And I was very proud of the Catholic Archbishop the next day. The president visited the shrine of Pope John Paul, Saint Pope John Paul, and he said this. It really echoes the words of the Bishop of Washington, but I don't think I have it. Do I have it? I want you to hold on for a second because you have to hear this. No, I don't seem to have it. But, oh, here we are, hiding under here. Archbishop Wilton Gregory issued the statement on the president's visit to the shrine of St. John Paul II. I find it baffling and any Catholic facility would allow itself to be so egregiously misused and manipulated in a fashion that violates our religious principles, defend the rights of all people, even those with whom we may disagree. Saint Pope John Paul II was an ardent defender of the rights and dignity of human beings. Legacy bears vivid witness to that truth. He certainly would not condone the use of tear gas and other deterrents to silence, scatter, or intimidate them for a photo opportunity in front of a place of worship and peace. It's not funny, the White House put out some kind of a statement saying that the president there with the Bible at St. John's was of Winston Churchill going to the ruins of London, or George W. Bush at 9/11. I rest my case. We do need, I quoted a time to heal. This is a time to heal. Holding that Bible, something by osmosis or something may have gotten into the president about healing, which is Ecclesiastes in the Bible. Time to heal. It even says in Ecclesiastes, did you ever know this? I didn't, and I've read it many times, but in this version it says a time to embrace and a time not to embrace. It must have been foreseeing what we're going through now. But President Obama spoke so beautifully after the murder of Eric Garner. Right now, unfortunately, we see too many instances where people do not have confidence that folks are being treated fairly. And he says this is not just a black problem or a brown problem or a Native American. This is an American problem when anybody in the country is not being treated equally under the law. That's a problem. And then President George Herbert Walker Bush, the father, he said this after the Rodney King. Terrible scenes stir us all to demand an end to gratuitous violence and brutality. Law enforcement officials cannot place themselves above the law that they are sworn to defend. It was sickening to see the beating that was rendered, and there's no way in my view, to explain it was outrageous. Time, a time to heal. Thank you all very much.
Good to meet you.
Praise God, isn't he worthy? Praise Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going now to hear in just a moment from loved ones and family of George Floyd. But before that, welcome to the podium Attorney Benjamin Krupp for his remarks. Would you please welcome? Thank you.
I'm Attorney Ben Crump, and along with Attorney Tony Ramanucci and Attorney Chris Stewart, as my co-counsels out front seeking justice for the family, along with a lot of other great working in the background who I will mention briefly before we bring up the ones who knew George Floyd all of his life. I want to thank lawyers towing in the vineyards like Devin Jacob, Chris O'Neill, Lee Merritt, Darrell Parks, Jasmine Rand, Bill Pentas, and Carol Powell-Lexon, because you may see Tony and Chris and I, but it's a whole team of lawyers who are working, because it's going to take a united effort fighting in the courtroom and outside the court, justice for George Floyd. I would tell you all that because of the coronavirus pandemic, we have to stay, and we all have to do this social distancing. But I want to just put it on the record, Reverend Al, that it was not the coronavirus pandemic that killed Floyd. I want to make it clear on the record. Will Packard, it was that other pandemic that we're far too familiar with in America, that pandemic of racism and discrimination that killed. So before we make a plea, we feel it appropriate that you hear from the people who really knew George, the boy, knew George, the adolescent, knew George, the man, and from whence George came. So I would ask that his brother Polonus Floyd, his brother Rodney Floyd, his cousin Sharita Tate, his nephew Brandon Williams to the stage, and I would ask Attorney Tony Ramanucci and Attorney Chris Stewart to come and stand with me behind them as united they tell the world why we should celebrate the life of George Floyd. Please come up, family.
How y'all doing first? My name is Polonus Floyd, brother of George Floyd. Wow. We come up together. We didn't have, mom did what she could. We would sleep in the same beds, play video games together, go off, you know, play catch with the football. And I used to say to myself, like, man, you can't throw. You can't throw at all. You know what I mean? Because the ball never came to me. And years down the line, because I was catching with one hand, two hands, any way you threw it, I started being able to catch it. He said, I can throw. but I just wanted you to go get the ball. The ball don't need to come to you. You need to go get the ball. But, you know, my brother, we did a lot of things together, from dancing with my mom, cooking with our mom, brothers and sisters, man, so much. We made banana mayonnaise sandwich. It was a family thing, you know. Every day, we know when we come in the house, our mom was gonna have a huge plate of food separate from each other, and we would sit and argue with each other who plate it was, and I'm like in like 10 or 11, I'm talking about the plate with 6 pieces of chicken is mine, and he way bigger than me. You know what I mean? He's huge. So, man, from that, being in the house with my brother, man, it was just like inspiring to other people, because my mom used to take in other kids, and most of them was George's friends, and they wanted to stay with her. They loved her, and my brother, he was okay with it. So then you had 3, to me, they were grown then, because they kicked me out the room. They were 3 men, like 16, 17, they grown, sleeping in the same bed, waking up, going to the same school. And they wouldn't leave each other at all. They always wanted to be with each other at all times. And I remember nights when the day before school, we didn't have a washing machine. So we would all go in and put our socks and underwear in a bathroom sink and just start washing them. If we didn't have detergent, we would use soap. But we would wash it. We were gonna be clean, So we would literally, right after that, we would take the socks and hang them over the hot water heater. And we'd take the underwear and hang them over there. And me and his friends and all of them, we like, no, you did it last night, because your clothes probably still be damp the next day if you don't put it on the hot water heater. So, and we learned a lot of stuff, but it's crazy because we would, like, we didn't have a dryer. So the fastest way to dry your clothes was to put it in the oven and let it dry faster like that. So it was just, man, I love my brother, man. We had so many memories, you know, together. I waking me up, telling me, hey, man, can you iron my clothes for me? And I look at him, but then I look at his size and I say, you right, big bro, you right. You know what I mean? It was just amazing. Everywhere you go and see people, how they cling to him. They wanted to be around him. You know, George, he was like a general. Every day he walks out, like just like when we came in, wanted to greet him and wanted to have fun with him. Guys that was doing drugs, like and homeless people, you couldn't tell, because when you spoke to George, they felt like they were in, because that's how he made you feel. Wow. He was powerful, man. He had a way with words. He could always jump and go all the time. Everybody loved George. We didn't call him George. We called him Perry. If you called him Perry, you knew him direct. You know what I mean? Because George was the name. Everybody called him Big George, Big Floyd, Georgie Porgy. He had so many different names. But I'm going to go ahead and let... Go ahead. I'm not stopping you. Go ahead. I'm just, man, it's crazy, man. I came to see my brother, and that's amazing to me that he people's hearts, you know, because he been touching our hearts, you know. Third Ward, where we're from, people are crying how much they love them. You know, I'm just staying strong as I can, because I need to get it out. I need to get it out. Everybody wants justice. We want justice for George. He's going to get it.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to echo some of the things that Fallon has talked about, and that is that we come from a large family members. Our mothers were siblings of 13. And if I can kind of fast forward a little bit, my aunt she lived in Houston, and she would always talk about being there, not having any of the siblings close to her. So my mother decided to move to the Houston area. back early 81. And so we came to Houston, and we were all excited. We could have somebody close to us, because the only time we really would see each other is like during the holidays or when people would travel to visit my grandmother. Long story short, I mean, we didn't have a whole lot, but we always had each other. And we always were taught that, you know, we could always bring other people. No one should ever go home without having a meal or having food. Because he talked about, my aunt was someone in the community that everybody, they called her Miss Sissy, to come over there. And she ended up having, you know, 30 or 40 kids that would come over there because they always knew that they could get something to eat if they came there. And not only food, but they loved and they could feel part of a fold. So we were raised to always welcome people in and to embrace other people. And so you could see, as all these people, no matter who you talk to, they will all say the same thing, and that George was somebody who was always welcoming, always made people feel like that they were special, and nobody felt left out. And he would enter into a room. Everybody would feel like they were special. He would embrace them. As I think about the thing that I will miss about him most is his hugs. Like, he was this great big giant, and when he would wrap his arms around you, you would just feel like, you know, you were, everything could just go away. Any problems you had, any concerns you had would go away. So while we're all grieving, I just want to kind of highlight his children, Quincy, Javion, Tanjanika, Tyson, and Gianna, and his 3-year-old granddaughter, Journey. We all need prayer. But if I am honest about it, we are more concerned about his grandchildren. So I ask that you pray for us as we go along this marathon to make sure that justice is served on George's behalf, or Perry as we call him. I ask that you pray for us and especially for their children. Thank you.
How y'all doing? I am Rodney Floyd, youngest brother of George Floyd. And my older brother PJ was talking about childhood memories and how we grew up. And I would like to start where he left off. We didn't have much growing up, but all that great stuff, how we dried and watched our ingenuity. And I mean, hey, we worked with it. Didn't have much, but we had a house full of love. And I mean, I appreciate the love of everyone in here in the state of Minneapolis. Y'all adopted my brother and showed him so much love. And we feel that love in your city. Thankfully, everybody, and plus around the world. It's a beautiful thing, this great love we're receiving. And George Floyd is receiving, because he would love it. I wish he was here in the presence, in the flesh, to see it. Because all this great unity, you would bring in the tears like it's bringing us. But she had fun remembering my brother, Big Floyd, as y'all know. Oh, cooking-wise, he would make him and the other brothers, 3 gentlemen my brother mentioned grew up in our house, so they would say, "Little bro, you make the best grilled cheese. Can you please go make us one?" I mean, if I tell y'all as a little 6 or 7-year-old kid, I did that numerous times. I realized as I got older, y'all just using me. But you know what? But you know, I was just happy to be doing it. But my big brother, I mean, great guy, great gentleman, great man, and as a child, without no father figure, he was big brother, but I didn't see the little stuff they were throwing out again and the mistakes he made, and I, watching them follow him, corrected myself as a grown man, as a teenager growing up, and, you know, learning from him how to be a man and everything he instilled us and taught us. He was doing him us how to be a man because he was in this world already before us. And he gave us a lot of great lessons. And one thing about a man, keep the definition as is. Floyd, responsibility. He would stand up for his family and friends, and he's great at that. And I want you guys to know that he would stand up for any injustice everywhere. Can y'all please say his name? Thank y'all.
I'm Brandon Williams. I'm George's nephew. I call him Perry. You know, we happen to share the same middle name for some reason. My mama wanted to name all of us after some of her siblings, and coincidentally, I ended up with George. Growing up, I mean, I'm a lot younger than them, but I didn't have a father figure present in my life, so I grew up in the same house with them. And, you know, my uncles were more of a father figure in my life. And with Perry being the alpha male, you know, I gravitated to him. Coming up, I played sports. He did. You know, that kind of connected us and brought us real close. I'm trying not to be sad. This is a lot harder than I thought it would be. I just remember just all of the memories, man. So more than anything, I just want to say thank you to him, just for being there, just being a real, genuine person, just being loving and caring and somebody I can count on no matter what. We didn't have much, but coming up, my grandmother tried her best, and wherever she selected, he picked it up for me. He made sure I had sneakers and a lot of stuff like that, and I appreciate that. I'm going to end it with a funny story about he was the biggest LeBron James fan. And I remember, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the NBA, but when the Cavaliers, they came to State Warriors in the finals, and I remember the very first phone call, and I told him, Unc, man, you too happy. You sound like you won a championship. And we laughed about it, and you know, he said, man, you know how I feel about LeBron, did win a championship. So, and every time we would talk, you know, I asked him, like, hey, how you doing, man? You good? And he said, I feel like I won a championship. And that kind of stuck. It was just this inside thing we had. So I know with him being the strong person he was and seeing everybody come together and, man, extend all of the love and support to our family. And, man, we thankful and grateful. And I know more than anything, with everybody hurting, he would want us to feel like we won a championship. So I'll end on that note. Thank y'all.
Y'all, please give his family another round of applause. Please show them love. Show them love. Thank you all so much for bearing your hearts. If we learned one thing, the Floyd boys like to eat. And also, they had a conversation with Tyler Perry, and it was pretty profound because they said, we are the big extended black family that you portray, Will Packard and others, on your movie screens, because we all need one another. And you can tell this family always needed George. And so it's awfully difficult for them. The plea for justice is simply this. Dr. Martin Luther King said, he who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really like cooperating with it. You know, T.I., on that video, what we saw was torture. Reverend Jackson, what we saw in that video was inhumane. Martin III, what we saw in that video was evil. And so America, we proclaim, as we memorialize George Floyd, do not cooperate with evil. Protest against evil. Join the young people in the streets protesting against the evil, the inhumane, the torture that they witnessed on that video. We cannot cooperate with evil. We cannot cooperate with injustice. We cannot cooperate with torture. Because George Floyd deserved better than that. We all deserve better than that. His children deserve better than that. Steve, all George wanted from life is what any of us want. As Thomas Jefferson said in the Declaration of Independence, the unalienable rights endowed by our Creator, liberty, and the pursuit to be happy on this earth. That's all George was asking for, like any and all of us. But he was denied those rights. And we will seek justice in his name. We will all united as a people who are God's seek justice in his name. But beyond the specific justice, in his case, Chris, the prosecution, the 4 individuals who deprived George of his life, we seek a broader, more transformative justice, a more just system of policing. Kevin, a more just treatment of people of color. Chris, a more just criminal justice system. In essence, what we are endeavoring to, Brandon, is what my personal hero, Thurgood Marshall, said. Make the Constitution real for all Americans. You see, Justice Marshall said the basis of the Constitution is simply this, that a black baby born to a black mother, the most inarticulate black mother, the most improvised mother, has the same exact rights as a white baby born to a white mother, the most educated white mother, the most articulate white mother, has the most just by virtue of that baby drawing its first breath as an American. Now, Justice Marshall said, Reverend Jackson, I know today, but I challenge anybody to say, Tony, that's not the goal we're fighting for. He said, I challenge anybody to say, that's not what makes America. Speaking of hope and justice for all the world tomorrow, fight for the George Floyds of the world. But more importantly, when we fight for the unknown George Floyds of the world, Von Martins of the world, when we fight for the Terrence Crutches of the world, when we fight for the Michael Browns of the world, when we fight for the Alton Sterlings of the world, when we fight for the Philando Castillos of the world, when we fight for the Jamar Clarks of the world, when we fight for the Eric Gardners of the world, when we fight for the Sandra Blands of the world, when we fight for the Ahmaud Arbery's of the world, when we fight for the Breonna Taylors of the world, when we fight for the Natasha McKinney's of the world, when we fight Clarks of the world, when we fight for the least of these, what we are really doing is helping America live up to its creed. What we're really doing is helping America be the great beacon of hope for all the world to marvel. But most important, sisters, what we are doing is helping America be America for all Americans. What we want, T.I., is not 2 justice systems in America, one for black America and one for white America. What we endeavor to achieve is equal justice for the United States of America, and George Floyd is the moment that gives us the best opportunity I have seen in a long time of reaching that high idea that this country was founded on. Thank you so much, Justice. On behalf of the family, the children, we will get justice. We are committed to it. Now, I would introduce you to a man who really needs no introduction, who will eulogize George Floyd. He is a man who has fought for so many families that too many hashtags to remember. And when he gets the call, he always answers the call. Even when around, even after the cameras are gone. Ask Eric Gardner's family. Ask Stephon Clark's family. Ask any of these families. The cameras have long gone, Tony, but Reverend Al continues to answer the people call. He is a leader that you see on commentating about our experiences, but more importantly, he is a leader who lived our experiences, and because he have lived those experiences, effective in commentating on MSNBC about our experiences. And he is going to talk about the experience, terrible loss, who should be with us today, and that is George Floyd. Please give a great round of applause for the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you. I want us to not sit here and act like we had a funeral on the schedule. George Floyd should not be among the deceased. He did not die of common health conditions. He died of a common American criminal justice malfunction. He died because of there has not been the correct behavior that has taught this country that if you commit a crime, it does not matter whether you wear a blue uniform, you must pay for the crime you commit. So it is not a normal funeral. It is not a normal circumstance, but it's too common, and we need to deal with it. Let me ask those of you that in the traditions of eulogy reference, go to Ecclesiastes 3rd chapter. First verse says, to everything there is a time and a purpose under the heavens. I'm going to leave it there. I saw somebody standing in front of a church the other day had been boarded up as a result of violence, held the Bible in his hand. I've been preaching since I was a little boy. I've never seen anyone hold a Bible like that, but I'll leave that alone. But since he held the Bible, if he's watching us today, I would like him to open that Bible. And I'd like him to read these three. To every season, there's a time and a purpose. And I think that it is our job to let the world know when we see what is going on in each of this country and in Europe, around the world, you need to know what time it is. First of all, we cannot use Bibles as a prop. And for those that have agendas that are not about justice, this family will not let you use George as a prop. If you want to get your stuff off, don't use him for what is right. Because when I got the call from Attorney Crump, and usually when he calls me, it's not to find out how I'm doing. It's something happened that he wants National Action Network and I to get involved. Explain to me what was happening with this case. And I'd already heard about it in the media. And immediately I said, well, let me know what you want me to do. He said, whatever you need to do. One of the things, Martin, that I've always had to deal with is critics would say, all Al Sharpton wants is publicity. Well, that's exactly what I want. Because nobody calls me to keep a secret. People call me to blow up issues that nobody else will deal with. I'm the blow-up man. I apologize for that. You get away too much with hiding things. It's talked about y'all putting clothes in the oven to have your clothes dried. Well, I didn't grow up in the third world, but I grew up in Israel, and we had roaches. Now, I know Kevin Hart and some of the rich Hollywood folk here don't know what roaches are, but we had roaches, Ludacris. And one thing I found out about roaches, if you keep the light off, if you're in the dark, a roach will pull up to your dinner table and have a 5-course meal. So I learned one of the ways to deal with roaches is if you cut the light on. I could run them roaches and track them down. And I've spent all my life chasing roaches all over this country. As soon as I talked to the family and got the details and heard that among George's last words was, "I can't breathe," with a knee on his neck, I immediately thought about Eric Gardner. I did the eulogy at his funeral, and I called his mother. And I said, I know we are not going out because of the coronavirus, but this is so much like Eric. If we could arrange some private way to go to a minute, you go. And she said, Remal, I'm already packing, let me know. Tyler Perry said, I'll give the families, the plane, whatever y'all need, because this is wrong. Robert Smith said, don't worry about the funeral costs. Economic and racial line started calling and getting in. And we flew out here, her and I, last Thursday. And when I stood at that spot, the reason it got to me is George Floyd's story has been the story of black folks. Because ever since 401 years ago, the reason we could never be who we wanted and dreamed to be in is you kept your knee on our neck. We were smarter than the under schools you put us in, but you had your knee on our neck. We could run corporations and not hustle in the street on our neck. We had creative skills. We could do whatever anybody else could do, but we couldn't get your knee. What happened to Floyd happens every day in this country, in education, in health services, and in every area of American life. It's time for us to stand up in George's name and say, get your knee off our necks. That's the problem no matter who you are. Maybe we had a complex, T.I., maybe it was just us. But even blacks that were broke through, you kept your... Michael Jordan won all of these championships, and you kept digging for mess because you got to put a knee on our neck. White housewives would run home to see a black woman on TV named Oprah Winfrey, and you mess with her because you just can't take your knee off our neck. Man comes out of a single-parent home, educates himself, and rises up and becomes the president of the United States. And you ask him for his birth certificate because you can't take our neck. The reason why we're marching all over the world is we were like George. We couldn't breathe, not because there was something wrong with our lungs, but you wouldn't take your knee off our neck. We don't want no favors. Just get up off of us, and we can be and do whatever we can be. There have been protests all over the world. Some have looted and done other things. And none of us in this family condones looting or violence. The thing I want us to be real cognizant of is there's a difference between those calling for peace and those calling for quiet. Some of y'all don't want peace. You just want quiet. You just want us to shut up and suffer in silence. The overwhelming majority of the people marching wasn't breaking windows. They were trying to break barriers. They wasn't trying to steal nothing. They were trying to get back the justice you stole from us. Those that broke the law should pay for whatever law they broke, but so should the 4 policemen that caused this. We don't have a problem denouncing violence. We have a problem, Mr. Mayor, denouncing looting. But it seems like some in the criminal justice system have a problem looking at a tape and knowing there's probable cause, and it takes a long time for you to go and do what you see that you need to do. But that as Ben Crump said, National Action Network and I have been involved in a lot of these fights. We criminal justice. I did speeches and eulogies at most of the funerals that we've had in this space in the last couple of decades, and led the marches. And I look at Martin III, we went to jail together fighting these fights, like his daddy went to jail before. But I'm more hopeful today than ever. Why? Well, let me go back. Reverend Jackson always taught me, stay on your text. Go back to my text, Ecclesiastes. There is a time and a season. Looked at this time and saw marches where young whites outnumbered the blacks marching. I know that it's a different time and a different season. When I look at it, marching for George Floyd, it's a different time and a different season. When they went in front of the Parliament in London, England, and said it's a different time and a different season, I come to tell you, This is the time of dealing with accountability in the criminal justice system. Stephen, years ago, I went to march.
Is build on relationships, because that's what it's all about.
Young white lady looked me right in the face and said, "Nigga, go home." But when I was here last Thursday, and Miss Carr and I was headed back to the airport, I stopped at the station. And as I was talking to a reporter, a young white girl, she didn't look no older than 11 years old. She tagged my suit jacket. And I looked around and I braced myself. And she looked at me and said, "No justice, no peace." It's a different time. It's a different season. And if my Bible-carrying guy out in front of that boarded-up church, if I got him to open up, I want you to remember something. You know, I was late last October to an appointment because the time changed. And I was still, my watch was on the wrong time. It's forward. And if you don't, Congresswoman Omar, move your watch, you're going to find yourself an hour late, not because your watch was wrong, but you had your watch on the wrong time. Well, I come to tell you that are sitting in Washington about militarizing the country, thinking that you can sell wolf tickets to people who's had enough of abuse. I come to tell you, you can get, but you on the wrong time. Time is out for not holding you accountable. Time is out for you making excuses. Time is out for you trying to stall. Time is out for empty words and empty promises, for you filibustering and trying to stall the arm of justice. This is the time. We won't stop. We're going to keep going until we change the whole system of justice. Our organizations have called this a day of mourning. NAACP, National Urban League, Legal Defense Fund, Black Women's Roundtable, Lawyers Committee, all got together, said we're going to have a day of mourning. But then we're going to come out this day of mourning. Because as some of Cheryl and Eiffel and others that know the legal field have outlined a legal process that we must enforce, everything from residency to dealing with police backgrounds not being hidden. I talked to Governor Andrew Cuomo today in New York. He says we got to change 50A where the backgrounds are stopped of policemen. We need to know if they stop you, they find out. Why don't we know when policemen have a pattern? We got to go back to consent decree. Under the Obama administration, they had put certain cities, patterns in practice under consent decrees. From Jamal Bryan to know when he was pastoring there in Baltimore, the consent decree, one of the first things that happened in the next administration was they stopped the consent decrees. We have specific policies that need to happen. Therefore, I'm glad Matt is here today, because on August 28th, the 57th anniversary of the March on Washington. We're going back to Washington, Martin. Your father stood in the shadows of the Lincoln Memorial and said, "I have a dream." Well, we're going back this August 28th to restore and recommit that dream, to stand up, because just like at one era, we fight slavery, another era we had to fight Jim Crow, another era. This is the era to deal with policing and criminal justice. We need to go back to Washington and stand up, black, white, Latino, Arab, in the shadows of Lincoln, and tell them the time to stop this. We Martin and I talked about this. I've asked Reverend Bryant to get the faith leaders together. I talked Randy Weingart about the labor leaders. Oh no, we're going to organize in the next couple of months in every region, not only for a march, but for a new process. And it's going to be led by the family. And it's going to be led by the Garner family. And it's going to be led by those families that have suffered this and knows the pain and knows what it is to be neglected. And it's going to be getting us ready to vote not just for who's going to be in the White House, but the State House, the city councils that allow these policing measures to go unquestioned. Going to change the time. Let me say this to the family who has shown such great and real level and balanced thinking. And that's why I want them to help lead this. And I think one of the greatest thinkers of our time, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, I've asked come and speak. We need to break down. Y'all don't know what time it is. Y'all are operating like it's yesterday. And the reason y'all late catching up means is because you didn't turn your clock forward. Talking about make America great. Great for who and great when? We gonna make America great for everybody for the first time. Never was great for blacks. Never was great for Latinos. Wasn't never great for others. Young women had to march to get the right to vote. But lastly is the religious side. I was reading and kept thinking about how I was a little embarrassed because when I heard at this point of suffering this brutal attack call for his mama, I said to Attorney Crump, I said, I appreciate talking to his brothers and them on the phone, but I want to talk to his mother. He said his mother passed. I said his mother passed, but he was calling for his mother. And I thought about it because I was raised by a single mother. The only thing between us and our conditions was our mothers. Sometimes the only thing that we had that would take danger away was our mothers. The only ones that would make sure the food was on the table was our mother. I know why George was calling for mama. But then as I had got that all played in mind and I realized why I was always calling. My mother died 8 years ago, but I still try to talk to her. Sometimes just dial a voicemail on her phone that I never cut off. I still want to reach out to mama. Talking to Quincy last night, one of his 5 children. Quincy said, I was thinking maybe he was calling his mother. At the point that he was dying, his mother was stretching her hands out, saying, come on, George. I'll welcome you where the wicked will cease from trouble, where the weary will be at rest. There's a place where police don't put knees on you, George. There's a place that prosecutors don't drag their feet. Maybe mama said, come on, George. There's a God, but he looks down low and he'll make a way out of no way. This God is still on the throne. The reason we can fight, I don't care who's in the White House, there is another house. If we'll fight, he'll fight our battles. If we stand up, he'll hold us up. So as we leave here today, I say to this family, years ago we told them, Reverend Jackson told us, keep hope alive. Yeah. Then I know that President Obama wrote a book about hope. But I want you to know in my life, there's times I lost hope. Things can happen like this, but there's something that is sister to hope called faith. Faith is the substance of things, hope for, the evidence of things unseen. Faith is when you got a pile of bills, but you say he will provide all of my needs. Faith is when you got no medicine in the cabinet and you're sick in your body, but you say, he's a doctor that never lost a patient. It's from my eyes. Faith is when your friends walk out, when your loved ones turn their back, but you say, I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me now. We come this far by luck. We didn't come this far by some fate. We come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in his holy word. He never failed me yet. From the outhouse to the house, we come a long way. God will, God shall, God will, God always has. He'll make a way for his children. Go on home, George. Get your rest, George. We gonna keep marching, George. We gonna keep fighting, George. We done turned the clock, George. We going forward, George. Time out. Time out. Time out. Hezekiah Walker. We asked gospel great Hezekiah Walker to sing a song for them. After which, Derek Johnson of the NAACP asked me, Attorney Crump, we're going to stand for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Though that was the time that George was on the ground. And we want you with us for 8 minutes and 46 seconds and make that justice in the name of George. I want to thank the members of the Congress for being with us. Won't you stand? I want to thank the mayor and co-convener Dr. Martin Luther King III for being with us. I want to thank the mayor and the governor and their brides for being with the family. Senator Amy Klobuchar of the state of Minnesota. I want to thank my mentor and one who's fought this fight for more than a half a century. Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson is with us. And his spokesman for Rainbow Push, Jonathan Luther Jackson. I want to thank from the entertainment world, Kevin Hart. He told me don't mention he's here. Stand up, Kevin. We joke each other. Brother, beloved, stand up, brother Ludacris. Tyrese Gibson, who's an extraordinary activist in his own right. Master P. The one and only the creative genius Will with us today. And a brother that we've marched together and done a lot of things. He does not just put his name on somebody's petition. He puts his body on is in the house. I want this brother's one of the greatest gospel singers alive. Is Tiffany here? Oh, wait a minute. I didn't want to announce and say I embarrassed her. Let me tell you something. One of the most popular, outstanding artists that is also committed. I've read her interview. She think I'm old and don't read stuff, but I do. And she's been and saying the right things, and she wanted to be here today. And I was so busy joking with Kevin, I didn't even look at her. Let us welcome our sister beloved, Sister Tiffany Haddish is in the house. Well, I'm going to announce all the rest. Wait a minute, y'all don't start introducing folk. I got them all. Let us hear a selection from Brother Hezekiah Walker.
God bless everybody. Let's have some church for a little while. Y'all ready to have some church? I came all the way from Brooklyn to do this for George and the family. The song says, every praise, amen, is unto our God. Let's do it. Come on, let's stand to our feet, everybody. Come on. Come on. Put your hands together. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Every praise, come on. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship. Every word of worship. With one accord. With one accord. Every praise. Every praise. Every praise. Every praise to our God. To our God. Yeah. Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. Oh, to our God. Glory hallelujah. Glory hallelujah. To our God. To our God. Every praise. Every praise. Every praise. Every praise. To our God. To our God. Come on, let's take it up. Come on. Every praise. To our God. To our God. Put them hands together. Come on. Every word of worship. Come on. Every praise. Every praise. Every praise. Every praise. To our God. To our God. Look at your neighbor and say, sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. Oh, to our God. Glory hallelujah. Glory hallelujah. It's to our God. To our God. Come on. Every praise. Every praise. Every praise. Every praise. To our God. To our God. Come on, my people. Let's take it up one more time. Come on. Every praise. It's to our God. Every word of worship. Every word of worship. We want one accord. Every praise. Every praise. Every praise. Every praise. To our God. To our God. I don't care how you're feeling. Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. To our God. To our God. Hallelujah. Glory hallelujah. To our God. Every praise. Every praise. Every praise. Is to our God. To our God. This is my favorite part right here. Come on. God my Savior. God my healer. God my deliverer. Yes, He is. Yes, He is. You say it now. God my Savior. God my Savior. God healer. God my healer. God my deliverer. Yes, He is. Yes, He is. Yes, He is. Yes, He is. God my Savior. God my Savior. God my healer. God my healer. God my deliverer. God my deliverer. Yes, He is. 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 Every praise. Every praise. To our God. To our God. Every word of worship. With one accord. One accord. Every praise. 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 All of my worship. Every praise. All of my praise. Every praise. When you see me dancing. Every praise. Every praise. When you see me shouting. Every praise. 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 To our God. To every praise. Every praise. To our God. To our God.
As Mike, all right, as we remain standing, I want to recognize Clyde Bellecourt of the American Indian Movement. Brother Bellecourt, we're honored that you came. Thank you. And let me say, they recognize someone yelled out the state chair of the NAACP and many of Black Lives Matter, many organizations that have been doing the protests on the ground in Minneapolis and around the country. Movements are about everybody. We don't exclude those young folks, some of them organic, some organized on their own, some NAACP, some Urban League, some National Action Network. We need everybody. This is not a competition, this is a movement. And we need to stop our competing and start fighting the real enemy. Thank you for doing what y'all got here. They were marching. And they kept marching. They didn't need nobody to come organize something. They organized. And we're going to stay organized. And I really thank them for their work. We want to pause for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I want of the pandemic, I'm not going to ask you to take hands, but I want you to stand next to someone with the right distance. The amazing thing about this movement, people say they never seen marches all over the country. Well, we've had that, but we never. The reason I know this is a different time is people came out by the hundreds of thousands at risk of their own health to stand up. People that had been sheltered in broke out of shelter. First flight I took was to come here in many weeks. And maybe in God's own way, Martin, the fact we were sheltered means we couldn't watch nothing. We had to keep watching that tape. Maybe because we had no distractions, that finally we are ready to deal with this. So as we stand, I would like us to stand together. And I think there's only one woman up here. I want Tiffany, since I was disrespectful, would you come stand with us up here, Tiffany, so you won't be talking about me in your next interview. And I would like the mother of Aragona, of the one who originally died of police custody, saying, "I can't breathe," to stand with me and Ben Crump on stage. It's Gwen Carr. Let us stand. Somebody said, Reverend, 8 minutes is a long time. That meant it was long enough to understand what they were doing. That means it was long enough for one of them 3 cops to stop what was going on. That means it was long enough for officer had in mind for him to rethink. As you go through these long 8 minutes, think about what George was going through, laying there for those 8 minutes, begging for his life. Heard someone say, narrating his own death. We can't let this go. We can't keep living like this. Sam Jackson, is Sam still here? Steve Jackson, is he here? Steve, we won't recognize, I was recognizing everybody. We got to stop this here. And we got to bring about a new season. Let us stand still. You that believe in faith, bow your heads, or whichever way you worship. That's a long time. If we've calculated with the clock here was laying there, there's no excuse. They had enough time. They had enough time. Now what will we do with the time we have? Family out, please let us take them out first. They have to prepare to go North Carolina and then back Houston where we will do the final services. They appreciate you all for coming. Let everybody else be seated but the family. Reverend Bryant, will you come quickly? Give us a benediction. Just a benediction. And we're going to take the family out. Everyone else remain in your seats.
You'll remain where you are for the benediction. Good and gracious God, merciful Master, walk with us. Speak to us as we lift our voice, that they do not become fists. Change our hearts so that our rage will shift to rehabilitation. Convict the country so it can finally be the land of the free and the home of the brave. We pray this prayer in the name of an innocent black man by the name of Jesus, who was killed by a government and still rose again. And with that power, we march on until victory is won.
To the family.
Excuse me, we need everyone to be seated except the family. Please, everyone, please be seated except the family. Let's please, everyone, please remain in your seat as we escort this family out. Thank you so much. Please, we need everyone to remain seated.
What a day of rejoicing that will be when we all see Jesus. We will sing and shout victory.
Come on, can y'all please remain seated for a minute till we escort the family out? Please, let out. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Thank you so much.
What a day of rejoicing that will be when we all see Jesus.
I see the family has grown.
We will sing and shout victory. We will sing.
Please, let's let the family leave, please. Can we please let the family exit the building? Thank you for respecting this family. Thank all those who respect.
We will sing and shout victory. 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 We will sing and shout victory.
Thank you so much. God bless you all.
害人哋啲仔女咧，好心啊！啲恨勁有乜辛苦？日日打黑色衫，打黑色衫，我哋嘅後生仔。心啊！啲恨勁天生咁樣，日日爭取打交，爭取又破壞香港，打傳媒，打傳媒，打議員，打議員，打女仔，打女打。死黑警打爛呢個家園啊！死黑警又唔做嘢，又唔讀書，點解我哋唔做嘢？害人嘅女我唔該，黑警啊！仔女啦，死黑警，我冇罪㗎，點解要搞我咧？黑警就係我哋仇人，黑警日日鬧事，黑警破壞香港法例，黑警破壞香港法例，黑警就係我哋仇人，黑警日日鬧事。黑警破壞香港法例，黑警破壞香港法例，香港法例，香港法例。